getting shorter. It's now, no way, 'cause life flows like white water. Take a moment to breathe, hold it in, stay a while, forget all that you know, and forgive everyone. It's all in your power to turn away. I've been blinded, 'cause all I see now is a fairy tale ending is not in our course at all. Make a change, forget wait for nothing to death do I, 'cause I feel like a freight train is running over me. So I'll say what you want me to make you believe, mortify, complicate. I'll wait by until it's too late. But I think that you know much better. Wait forever. My head is on straight for once, and you will pay for it. Caught in a landslide, a birdside take, and I can't wait to finally get out of here. And I feel like a freight train is running over me, 'cause I know like I know everything to make you believe. Take every piece of me, and don't be fine for a little while. Forget everything. You're making excuses. These loaded questions will be useless for you. And the real answer is that I fucking hate you.
What up, YouTube and Rumble? This is your boy Gary Lamb, bringing relevant content on live streaming, a pursuit of happiness. We are here with a all-time crowd. Listen, I am excited about this one because it seems like they're going after your boy yet again over some Trump crap, and we want to see what exactly was going on with our boy Trump. Mal, what is going on with
Same old, same old. You know, I live, I eat, I breathe.
you? Uh-huh.
Life's a giggle. And you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Just finished playing some what's the name of that game that you had me playing? Thank you, darling. We got some grapefruit juice right here. We got some grapefruit juice. A nice good grapefruit juice right here. Ah, that's nice, nice. Yeah, so we just finished playing some game. That what's the name of that game?
Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia. All right. And yeah, this thing has been my chat want me to play it for some odd reason. They wanted to scare me. Considering the fact that there's levels, they're saying there's a prison level as well, which is crazy. But we are not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about Trump and maybe a couple other things that might be important. I am here with matters of opinion. That is Walls and Erica, and we're going to bring them up right now to say hello to the folk.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Salutations.
Now, last Saturday, we had such a good time with you. Decided to bring you up another time, and I think we're going to do this. Every Saturday? We want to try to do this. You
Yeah.
ready to rock with
every
that? We got a couple
Saturday.
of things.
Yep.
All right, that's what's up. We also have Kevin. We're going to bring him up. He said he can only stay for 45 minutes, so we're going to give him some shine as well. From
What's up, everybody?
Red
I'm glad to
River
be here.
Studios. Oh, okay, go right here.
I'm glad to be here, man. Long-time fan, and I'm just super glad to be on the show today and be introduced to your wonderful audience.
Well, thank you for saying wonderful, because I think they're wonderful. And speaking of wonderful, let's see who is in the building. We have Samantha in the building. What up, love? How you doing? We have Danielle. What's up? We have Ivan. We also have Michael. What's going on? We got Mike Griffin. How you doing, buddy? Who else do we have in? We Live Freedom. What's up, man? What's going on? Who else? I just want to make sure I know. Linda. What's going on, Linda? Who else is in here? We also have Stream Elements. What's up, Stream? My most loyal subscriber. Do you understand me? Here every single live, does not miss 1 minute. And we have the Lady Love, Latoya Lamb, my sweet thing. My sweet thing. So we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. Now, who wants to lead off on this ridiculously goofy charge of okay, we have Renovato Yosh. Renovato is in your house too. Did I say that right? Renovato. All right. And I didn't forgot how you say your name, love. What how you say it again? Overzealous. What's going on? Overzealous. Going on. But who wants to lead with this?
Well, seeing as I have no clue what we're talking about,
We're talking about Trump. We're talking about Trump going to prison on Tuesday, or at least they're trying to get him in prison. Like, I don't believe that's going to happen. I don't.
So
Well, I can set the table if nobody else wants to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, basically what we're looking at here is a few years ago, before the Trump campaign kicked off, it is alleged that Trump paid his attorney at the time, I think it was $160,000 to pay off Stormy Daniels. And so what happened after that, they flipped his attorney, of course, and in all intents and purposes, he ratted. But so they spent the past few years trying to pin him down on this. The feds actually looked into it for a little bit, and they decided to pass. Now, actually, what we're looking at right here is essentially a campaign violation that would probably be a fine or a misdemeanor, but it's being rolled up into a felony. So the way they're prosecuting this case is in a way that you really wouldn't prosecute a case like this at the state level. Usually, the attorney at the federal level would be the one to pick this up, and that's what makes it so unusual and particularly egregious. So when you talk about things like this, it's usually handled at the federal level because you kind of want those career folks over at the DOJ handling this instead of a prosecutor at the state level who is a partisan actor. So on the face of this, it looks like just a partisan assault on our legal system, our two-tiered legal system, again, taking place against the former president, Donald Trump. And so it leaked last week that there was going to be an indictment of the president. And at this point, it's still being looked at and reported as just hearsay for the most part. But I guess we'll find out on Tuesday or Wednesday whenever these indictments hit. So that's the story.
Well, Trump did kind of like admit to it somewhat when he came out and said, hey, this was a whole extortion case, so to speak, meaning that he was being extorted and gave up pretty much money to make it go away.
Yeah, and
Like he
absolutely, and
said that
more or
he said
less.
that
I
himself.
mean, not to kind of hog the mic, but there's nothing particularly that illegal about what he did if this did happen this way. This is more of a thing that should probably be a fine. In any other instance, any other politician, this would be a fine. If he was a Democrat and running as a senator in New York, or if he was a sitting senator in New York or a congressperson, this would be a fine. So this is something that's definitely being just trumped up, no pun intended. But anyway.
So what is
It
the
actually do
actual
sounds like
law
that.
they're trying to nail him under? Because I'm confused. So he paid hush money. Well, he gave his lawyer hush money to pay Stormy Daniels, of which she took, and they signed a non-disclosure agreement about the matter. So where does campaign funds come into this?
Well, I think what they're going to try to say is that because he paid him and it was linked to him running for president and not make him look bad, that they're going to try to say, well, this is a campaign contribution because you were using this to benefit your campaign and you didn't claim it. But even so, I mean, you're talking about $160,000. I mean, I think Ted Cruz last year settled for a few $100,000. AOC settled for. I mean, these laws, the way our campaign finance laws are written, you can't even sit down and have someone buy you a ham sandwich if you're an elected person. Even here in the state of Oklahoma, we've had lawmakers fined because they had a lobbyist, they had dinner with them, and they paid for them to have a burger at McDonald's, and they were fined like $50 for that. So these laws are so broad that you could almost charge anybody, but not felonies. This isn't a felony thing. What they're doing is unprecedented. Just know that.
Well, what it is they're yeah. I think they're trying to lessen the blow. The chance at the Democrat Party winning anything at this rate is a snowball's chance in hell. And it almost sounds more. So I'm going to come at this because I don't think this is about trying to keep Trump from getting elected. Even if they manage to nail Trump, they're not going to get DeSantis. So the best they're going to serve is 8 years of Republican rule versus 12. And I say that because if DeSantis is smart, and Danielle had made a comment in chat about DeSantis funds and not saying whether he's going to run or not, DeSantis is going to wait. There's no point in running against Trump. You're going to split the vote, which means neither of them are going to win. So their best bet is for Trump to win. That gets Trump in the White House for 4 years. And as long as Trump does well, forget about the media crap. We're all tired of that. As long as Trump does well to pull us out of this crap, then DeSantis is going to say, let me pick up the torch from here. And DeSantis, so you're going to have 8 to 12 years of Republican rule to clean up the mess that the Democrats have left us in, right? So I think this Trump attack is more about trying to keep everybody busy from holding the Biden family accountable, and maybe even more. If and Gary had asked me this question, so I'll phrase it like, if it was me with a little bit of this taste of power, I'd be going after everybody, pushing for Clinton. So I would be hiring behind the scene people to be building cases so that when I became president, I could start going utterly on the offense. Go after Joe Biden, go after his son, go after any other of his family members, go after Hillary. So have these people so tied up in court that they have to leave them alone for 4 years. That's just me, but I mean, it's yeah.
Oh, so you mean it'd be good for Trump to be just strategizing on how he's going to try to go after some of these people for these indiscretions? when
Right.
as he's running to try to kind of build that. I think Trump's had a red pill moment, and he might be based, but he was always kind of a boomer when it comes to some of this stuff. And while he was in office, he didn't really deal with some of these things because I don't think he took it as seriously as he should have. So I think this time he'll understand, like, if you fill your cabinet with a bunch of people who are pro-war and you're anti-war, that's problematic. If you sit there and you play games with Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell, you're going to get rolled over when it comes time to do the things that you want to do, the priorities. Now, you see here just this past week, they passed a law through Congress to allow the president to force the sale of TikTok. They didn't do that when Trump was in office. The Congress, having folks that can go down into the Congress and actually move the needle on things is really important. So your supporting cast is going to be make or break for Trump if he has a second presidency, if he makes it to that point, because I feel like we need to have a hearty primary. Now, I'll say if Trump is indicted, I think all that goes out the window for a short time. Who knows where it goes after a few months? But I think all that goes out the window because I think the Trump supporters or Republicans or what have you are going to be so enraged by this. I think they're going to say, forget every other candidate. We're going to shove it to the establishment one more time because of his indiscretion.
Well, and
Well,
that's where I say 12 years, right?
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is exactly why I said, I think if Trump runs the game that they're playing, DeSantis would be smart to just stand back, let Trump do his thing, let Trump supporters stick it to the man, and then he comes in and that gives us 12 years of Republican.
The way I look at it, it's going to be an uphill battle for Trump to actually run, because everybody is looking at, hey, this what is it called? This hush money, so to speak, situation. But what people don't realize is he's still on the hook for him trying to coerce, Georgia into finding these votes, so to speak, that whole phone call. He's still on the hook for that. They're still trying to see if they can indict him for that. And there was also recently another recording that he did with the House Speaker of Georgia or something like that. Again, trying to do, make them overturn the election. Now, regardless if it was fraud, the whole nine or whatever, you still have to go through proper channels to do so. So no matter how you slice it, his whole process of trying to overturn the election and the whole thing with the Capitol Hill and stuff like that, you still got to admit it was unconstitutional. So, to be honest with you, the person who I think has the best chance of winning the election if they go against Joe Biden would be DeSantis and not Donald Trump.
And why
There's
do
a
you
lot
say
of
that?
people. There's a lot of people. Though you said, why do I say that?
Yes, why do you say that?
Because there's a lot of people that is turned off by the whole January 6th insurrection and stuff like that. There is a lot of people that are turned off. Yes, he has his devout followers, but I believe Biden won the election because there were people that was turned off from the actions that he did, like the last couple of months leading up to the post-election with the whole, like, leading up to the fraud with the whole the election being stolen, yada yada, this, that, and the third, him not conceding, all of this stuff. I believe that turned a lot of people off. And as you saw, there was like a lot of the Republicans were turning their back on him. I even had discussions where I'm in comments going back and forth with people because, to me, this whole right left thing, to me, I personally don't care about the right and left because, like I said, they're all trying to screw the middle class and the lower class, and they're looking for their cronies to uplift pretty much. That's where I stand on it. But you saw the Republican Party basically turning their back on Trump and like distancing themselves from him. And you still see that now. There's not really nobody in the Republican Party that's really coming out saying, yes, we're going for Trump. It ain't like how it was before. So I personally feel if a person is going to win against Biden, I believe DeSantis have a better chance as opposed to Trump.
So you're saying you don't think he can win at all?
I don't think he can win.
Wow.
I think it's going to come down to Trump being smarter this time around than he was last time around. Trump needs to do as Kevin was saying. Step one, Trump needs to be thinking about who his cabinet's going to be now, not then, not spur of the moment. You need to find a cabinet built around you that A, supports you, B, knows how to work with you, and C, is interested in policies the way you want them to be. Pre-discussed, prearranged.
Let me ask you something, Mal. After witnessing how Trump basically threw Mike Pence under the bus when he didn't get what he wanted with the overturning of the election or whatever, and people looking to hang Mike Pence and all this stuff during January 6th. If you was a person in politics, would you be in his corner after witnessing the man would allegedly throw you to the wolves if he doesn't get what he wants? Would you be confident to be in his corner?
Question. Damn, that's a damn
you get
good
what I'm
question.
saying? Because if that was me, I'd be like, oh, hell no. This is what you'll do when you don't get what you want? You're willing to kill me? Huh.
What politician won't do that? Hasn't done that.
Yes, but that blatant?
Yes.
That blatant?
Oh, hell
I
yeah.
I don't recall ever seeing it that blatant before.
I'd be willing to bet that if we took the time and looked back, there's not a single politician that hasn't thrown one of their cohorts to the wolves. Why hasn't it been, or why can't we think of anything? Because nobody media sizes it like they do with Trump. Look at what Joe Biden's done. I mean, these things are disgusting and criminal. And yet and the media is only begrudgingly touching them. But Trump paying off some porn star that he may or may not have shook, that's 5, 6, 7, 8 years of newsworthiness, right? Everything Trump does, they hump like a dog in heat and keep throwing it at it. My second to what you're saying, again, comes full steam. There's a couple of fine points. Do I think if you had to choose between Trump and DeSantis, I think DeSantis would win. But I think it'd be stupid not to go behind Trump right now. Again, I prefer 12 years Republican rule versus 8 years Republican rule, with the hope that the Republicans pull their head out of their collective hindquarters. Am I going to hold my breath on that happening? No. As to chastising Mr. Trump, Trump's a retard. If I had the money and the pull that he did, here's the first step that I would do. I go to each state and find a lawyer from each state, and I would hire them and put them up in Trump Towers and say, here's all the things that I've said. Make them true. Go to court on this. And I would have these 50 lawyers building packages so that they could then hire lawyers, another set of lawyers in each place to go argue these. This includes, so there's the phone call you brought up. I listened to the phone call. It doesn't say what I think you think it says, at least in my opinion. So I disagree. And in fact, I disagree so vehemently. I think that there should be some sort of legal action because of the claims that were made about that, because these news outlets. So do I think Trump should have his team of lawyers craft a 4,000-page multi-faceted suit against the WAPO and them? Absolutely. Trump needs to put his money where his mouth is more than he is, but he has to fight all the fights. So when his lawyers were starting to be intimidated, he needed to start hiring another legal team to take on that aspect of it. And that's the thing, is that Trump rolled over on so many things that even if the issue seems small, it's cumulative. Had Trump proven that his lawyers were being maliciously attacked in the news and stuff like that, so clients were leaving them and so on and so forth, and that it was a direct result of slander, defamation, so on and so forth, had he started suing these places and winning, now not only can they not do what they were doing, but now he has a piece of evidence that he gets to flop on the table and say, this is what the Democrats think about democracy. They think it's okay to skirt the laws and to manipulate the legal system by browbeating the lawyers for representing somebody. So I think it's a cumulative snowball effect in this case, with the snowball going uphill instead of downhill. And that Trump should have started tackling these little issues, which would have got him to the little bit bigger, little bit bigger, little bit bigger, little bit bigger. And we're seeing it in other instances. That offshoot one, the guy who's suing AOC for calling her or for her blocking him because he refers to her as his big booty Latino or something like that.
Yeah.
It's funny. But if he wins, imagine what precedence that sets. Right?
Yeah.
How many of these lawsuits can AOC handle? She doesn't.
What do you guys make of this? What do you make of a district attorney that has his sole discretion, his whole mission? He ran for office saying that he wasn't going to prosecute crimes, just like a lot of other DAs across the nation that were put in and funded by a certain fellow from another country. And they basically put out these lists of crimes, misdemeanors that they're not going to prosecute anymore, and felonies that they're going to drop down to misdemeanors or high level misdemeanors. And him prosecuting former president to the hilt. And also on top of that, they're calling for protest in New York if he is indicted. And you could possibly see MAGA supporters walking into that trap, because that's what I believe, it's going to be, a trap, and being prosecuted to the hilt for protesting, when you just a week ago or 2 weeks ago, you could be in New York and there would be protests and they'd be breaking windows, they'd be burning cars, and none of those folks are in jail. But what do you make of a DA that is that duplicitous, that is that nakedly, openly partisan? Anybody can answer that. Yeah, you gotta speak on it. What do you think about a prosecutor that does something like that?
Okay, y'all gotta. I'm gonna tell you why I'm quiet. I don't pay attention enough. I really don't. And even though New York is local for the area that I'm in, this stuff doesn't matter to me. It really don't.
That's
I feel like
excellent point. I like that. That's a really good point. How does this resonate with the American people? They're dealing with, they can't put food on the table. We have trains derailing all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
We have inflation. We have banks collapsing. And the everyday person's like, what the heck is this about? You're fighting this?
To be honest, I think it's a distraction. Like, I really do. This is not the news that I really want to pay attention to. I really don't. For me, yes, I'm paying attention to the banks because I used to work in banking. So I feel like this story is just to cover up some of the stories that are probably worse going on, which is why I'm just sitting here. It's like, I understand what's going on. I hear it in passing, but I really could care less. You lock him up, you lock him up. You don't, he don't. He's still going to run regardless. So
exactly.
For me, it's okay. Are you grasping at straws again? Because I really just feel like they're throwing everything at him. And this is a man by choice who goes to court all the time. Think about his business career. That's what he did. I can remember how many times he had filed bankruptcy one time or another, just because he was my case study in college umpteen years ago. So it's like, if you got that kind of person and you're still throwing everything under the sun at him, what do you think's going to happen? He was not a legit politician to start with. So if you have somebody who is so out of the box as a politician, you're going to have these frivolous stories come out. You're going to have the, hey, we're trying to get him again. It's like, how many stories do you want to write that's going to make me want to believe this one's going to stick? I feel like I'm the person that needs to wait and see if it's going to stick at this point.
Excellent
And
point.
one thing I want to also point out too is that Trump never really got a fair shot when it came to the presidency. Soon as he became president, all these different stories of, hey, he's doing this, he's doing that, blah, blah, blah. And one of the things that stuck out to me that was said was the fact that he was racist and don't like black people. And I think a lot of black people just took that narrative and ran with it because people don't realize, like, prior to presidency, Trump was up in the club with all the rappers and all this stuff like that. People don't even realize that when black folks couldn't get loans from banks and stuff like that, Donald Trump was actually giving black people loans to actually start businesses that they couldn't get from the bank. And I think one disservice that I think Donald Trump should have highlighted them things, but then again, it's like, yo, if you're doing these things, why do you need to say anything about it? I think it was more so a disservice to black folks that ran with this narrative and didn't clarify. And when, like, with Trump, I'm not mad at him on the strength of how he was like, yo, with the Proud Boys and stuff, yo, those are, these people aren't that bad, and stating his case on that. It's because it's like Trump is the type of dude, if you rock with him, he rocks with you. You don't rock with him, he don't rock with you. So if the black community as a whole just basically disregarded him, why wouldn't you stick with the ones who are gonna vote for you, this, that, and the third? Why are you gonna disassociate yourself with them? So it was a brilliant strategy on his part, I should say. But I just want to say it was a disservice that the black community did not actually look into the history to see the things that Trump actually did. There's a man that said if he died, he would want to come back, or if he was reincarnated, he would want to come back as a educated black man. That's
So,
not something that a racist person would say.
so I'm going to start because I think my comment is the evolution up. I'm going to start with what Erica said, because that's the first point that we've got to deal with, right? Is nobody cares. All right. Then we go to what you just said, Wally, and that is all these stories, blah, 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 blah. Okay. This is why I go back to my opening statements. When Trump ran the first time, you know why he didn't get a fair shake? Because he didn't even think he was going to win.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
If he's going to do it this time, this is where I go back. Trump needs to turn around, hire a PR team, to tear through all these positive, all these negatives, list all these stories on a whiteboard, and start tackling them. And dump them in the media. Force the media through. So phase one is he needs to start a better media campaign. Prove the lies to be lies. Highlight the truths to be truths. Right? Step 2 or step 1B is at the same time get litigious in the background. Don't talk about what you're doing. Just do it. Because you brought up the DA. I'm willing to bet, give me 8 to 10 hours, me, you, Kevin, and Gary, and I can find laws that are broken by what that DA is. I, with a grade 10 education, can figure out the laws that are broken and ways to bring civil suit against this person. So if the moron I am, can do this, then why aren't a bunch of half-baked lawyers getting together? Right? We have laws in place already to deal with these things. Why they're not being used is the problem. Because Erica shouldn't be worried about this. There should be watchdog groups that are begging for money or claiming that they're for the people. Well, That's what they claim that they're supposed to be doing. Why aren't they doing it? Right? So I think there's already laws in the book that could be done in the background. Because all of us on the panel, I'm going to assume by what I saw, all of us have families and kids that we got to worry about. We already donate to different groups, whatever they may be, to support our opinion and to make our opinion a reality. Whether you're supporting the NAACP or whether you're supporting whatever, we already give our money to add to a war chest for these people to fight for those rights. So maybe we need to review who we're giving our donations to and start clawing some money back and saying, you know what? Y'all have had your chance. Stick up your poop chute because I'm done. You're not bleeding me for any more money if you're not going to follow through with what you're talking about, right? So I think everybody makes the litigious aspect of it seem so complicated. But it's like the DeSantis story that just came out. And I was laughing. I was talking to Gary about it because I swear to God, it was not more than 78 hours beforehand. It might have even been last Saturday when all of us were talking. Remember I brought up about using the laws that exist, right? And then Tim Pool covers this DeSantis story where DeSantis has pulled his liquor license of the Hyatt Hotel for putting on one of these drag shows and allowing children to attend. I've been screaming since I've started with Gary about how we need to start prosecuting these people, going into your local cop shop. And finally, Tim Pool, the milquetoast fence sitter, lost his mind on that video. And it's like, this is all well and good, DeSantis, but I want to see charges. Go through videos. Find the parents that were there. Get CPS at the door. If you live in this city, go to the local police and say, I just saw a video. Here's this person with their child underage, blah, 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 blah. Start pushing your police stations. Start pushing your government agencies that are supposed to be protecting people to doing their fucking job, or put them on blast and put them on media. Things are getting gotten away with because we are all sitting with our hands under our butts and saying, what am I supposed to do? It's not my fault. I don't. We all know what's right and wrong, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought you was gonna say more.
He just stopped in mid sentence.
Yeah, I thought you was gonna say something else. That's why I say that.
Like, right?
Exactly.
I'm like,
exactly.
I don't know what else to put on the table with that comment. Like I said, it's if what happened where I am, I would be putting my money where my mouth is. It'd be me, my cell phone, walking into my local cop shop, filming. Hi, my name is, enter name here. I just saw a YouTube video. I recognize this person, this person, this person, this person. They're there with their children. This is child abuse. Here's the law. I looked it up for you, officer. Here's the law. I want these people charged. I want you to contact Child Protection Services. This is child abuse. This is against the law. Do something about it.
Let me ask you something, because do you really think like it would go that smoothly? Because what was it like? It was like a book reading or something like that. Was it like a book reading that the kids was there and it was like a drag show or something like that?
The Hyatt one? No, the Hyatt one's even more disgusting than that.
Oh, I see. Okay, I didn't see the Hyatt one. What was the Hyatt one exactly?
It was a full-on burlesque show. They were imitating Master. Enter the next word there. They were performing or simulating sodomy.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, no, we're not messing around here. The book thing was weird. This thing is illegal.
Mm.
And
It was
here's
a-
the way I'll describe it, Wally. I see this and I'm mad about it. So I call you and 5 other friends and say, this is disgusting. This needs to end. So on, what's the date today?
Today's
March
the
18th.
18th. Yeah.
So Wally, I'm going to give you till March 21st
Mhm.
to call everybody. And at March 21st at 9 a.m., I'm going to show up at the police station. And I'm going to invite as many people as I can to join me. I want you to do the same. And then you go to Evelyn and you say, or Erica, and you say, Erica, I want you to find. And Erica, you go over to Erica. So that there is a lineup 5 blocks long outside the police station. And it's literally, you walk up, hi, I'm Joe Q Public. I just watched this video. Here's a copy of it. And you're recording this the whole time. Be like those thoughts in the gym, right?
Yeah.
Hi, my name
Yeah.
is such and such. I'm here to report a crime. I just witnessed this video. Here's a copy of it on the thumb drive. This is what I witnessed. Here's the name of the people that I can identify. Then I turn and I walk and I go. And then
Yeah.
you're standing behind me. And what do you say? The exact same thing. And then you walk away. And then the 5 people behind you and so on. When these cops get 100, 200, 500 people in a lineup filing this crime, and we've all made a list of ourselves, so come Tuesday when nothing's been done, we can put a story saying, breaking news, on the 21st of March 2023, 500 people went to this police station and filed criminal complaints against child abuse, and this police station has chosen to do nothing about it.
This is crazy though. The reason why I say this is crazy is because I've seen people get their kids taken away from them for less for posting TikTok videos. So why is this not happening for something as egregious as this?
Well, here's one. Oh, sorry. You can go. I got a crazy story. I'll go after you.
I was gonna
Because
say
the
you got to look at you got to look at where these things are happening at, right?
No, it's because the alphabet mafia is protected.
Correct, and that's what I was gonna say. You have to look at where it is. You got to look at one that was what most likely Miami. If it was the Hyatt, it was probably someplace,
Yeah.
bigger than if you were in
Yeah.
a small town in Florida. You have to look at the presence there. If it's a large presence, that means they're going to protect their own. Unfortunately, when I looked up the policy for that, yes, you were supposed to be 18 and over to go into this establishment for that particular type of show. They're a little lenient to 16-year-olds, depending on, if you're there with your parents and things like that. But anything under 16 should have been an issue.
Much lower.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. So anything much lower than that 16 should have been a problem. And to be honest, the people that were running the event should have stopped it. They should have pulled the people out, because think about it. I've gone to events where I've got questioned. Mind you, as old as I am, I've gotten carded for less. So if you're going to something that's supposed to be at 18 and over, potentially 16 and over, if you're from a different country, because 16 is legal in some countries, then yes, as the people that were doing this, you're collecting money. You didn't saw somebody come in the door with these kids. Yes, it's a hotel, but you still had to go into something. It's not like they were having the show right in the middle of the hotel lobby. It was probably in their ballroom somewhere where you had to go through doors. That means you probably had a bouncer, a door person, or something that should have been able to stop this stuff. I don't know why it didn't, people in general didn't step up and say something, because especially if you got alcohol around kids, that should have been an issue to begin with. It's not like it was a wedding or, something that was more private.
Everybody there should have been arrested. Like,
the manager should be charged. The bouncers should be charged. Anybody that served food or alcohol and witnesses should be charged with child endangerment.
Now, I did pull up the story because, like I said, I didn't know about it, so I pulled it up as you guys were talking. I know they're trying to hold the hotel accountable, and they're losing their liquor license.
Can you share the screen to that?
Share screen.
Okay, give me 2 seconds. So this is here. Share, present.
But my point, well, she's pulling it up. My point is, any person that lives in that city or town or wherever it is, any person can go and file a criminal report. So any person listening to us that reads this story and says, hey, I'm from here, go find the video. And if you see a minor in that video, you have the right to go to the police to file a child endangerment charge and record yourself doing it. And just like a hashtag, you make this thing go viral, and eventually the police are either going to look like utter fools or they're going to have to do something. And once they do it once, they're going to have to keep doing it.
Which,
right, go ahead
like
and
you
read
said-
that.
Okay, so pulling up my.
I'm just looking at the little video that's playing. That thing looked bananas.
Sorry, that was just on the. It was
No,
on the
I know,
side.
but
It
that
keep
but that
popping up
video
on
was
me.
talking about what's going on, though.
Yeah.
What was going on?
Correct. So it was actually a news article. So I guess I could restart it and put the sound on for you guys. Here we go.
The show that made headlines over the holidays, A Drag Queen Christmas, ran at the James L. Knight Center, which is adjacent to the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Miami. And it prompted a review by the DeSantis administration. Well, today, the Department of Business and Professional Regulation filed a 17-page complaint against the venue for allowing children into the show.
They say the show's content was highly inappropriate for kids and are now in the process of revoking the Hyatt Regency's liquor license. CBS 4's Gabrielle Arzola joins us in the studio tonight. And Gabby, how graphic was the show really?
Well, Lauren Elliott, think drag shows like movies. Some might be rated G, others could be X, but this one looks more graphic and raunchy, and the state claims that there were children in the audience. A holiday party with drag queens and dancers with tight Speedos. This show was at the James L. Knight Center back in December. So we went through the 17-page complaint filed by the state. It explains the show in graphic detail, saying performers allegedly exposed their prosthetic female breasts, genitalia, and buttocks to the audience. The show also had simulations of masturbation, graphic depictions of childbirth and or abortion, and there were also allegedly videos that projected on screens that included images of exposed female breasts and other sexually explicit content. And those were just the topics we can talk about on TV. The list of graphic complaints go on. This seemingly X-rated show was open to people of all ages, and the state says there were children in the audience.
Parents choose to take their children to some movies, that's their choice. The question is, why is our governor telling parents what entertainment their children get to watch?
A representative from Equality Florida says government has no place to tell parents how to parent. But according to the state complaint, it's a felony offense for a person to commit a lewd or lascivious exhibition to a minor under 16. And because of multiple alleged violations, the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulations say they're working to revoke the Hyatt's liquor license. So I reached out to the governor's office and they said, in quote, sexually explicit content is not appropriate to display to children, and doing so violates Florida law. Governor DeSantis stands up for the innocence of children in the classroom and throughout Florida. An attorney we spoke to says venues can get in trouble if the show they allow breaks the law. So the general manager of the Hyatt Regency in Miami says to us, in quote, the James L. Knight Center, including programming and ticketing, is managed by a third-party operator, and that we can confirm the hotel's liquor license remains in effect, and we're reviewing this complaint and will address the situation directly with the State Department of Business and Professional Regulation.
All right, so the hotel's liquor license is still under review. Now, we reached out to the drag show coordinator.
You probably can pause that. Okay. One thing that gentleman did say is the government should not control what parents, basically subject their children to.
Boom. See,
that is true.
Wait. Hold on.
That's absolutely not true.
That right there. Whoa.
That's absolutely not true.
Okay,
now explain.
Gary,
you want me to explain it or somebody else want to explain it?
I'll
let you explain.
Gary's
I was going to go on as a parent. I was going to come that way.
But then I'm going to call you being silly if you try to go on it as a parent. Because we read the child abuse laws and acts live on the show together, And
Yes,
there's not
we
a
did.
single one of them that you disagreed with.
Huh?
That's true.
There wasn't a single one that you disagreed with.
One of what?
Remember when we looked up the legal definition of child abuse live
Right.
on the show?
Right.
Which one of those laws did you disagree with?
Not one of them.
Right. So that's what he's talking about. So we already have laws in place under the Child Protection Acts or variants thereof that we agree as a society children shouldn't be engaged into or engaged with.
Then I'm going to go right back to my statement. As a parent, you can expose your children of whatever you want to. That's
Mhm.
up to you. You can do whatever you want in your house, not around me. When it comes down to public and I see some crap you doing that you shouldn't be doing, you should be punished for that.
That's a
That's
good
the
point.
law, right?
The
That's the
yeah,
law.
the
I
way you
can't
framed it,
tell you
I
what to
agree.
do. I can't tell you what to do in your house.
No,
There's nothing I can do to do that.
no. If I found out a parent was
Once again, wait, maladjusted. You're talking about being a freaking fly on somebody's wall. We're not flies on people's walls, right?
a
Exactly.
kid comes out and tells me, a grown up, my parent was pleasuring themselves in front of me, that's a criminal act. I don't care whether it was in their house or not.
Well, I mean, the thing, if you think about it, I mean, there's a lot of things there's a lot more milder things that will get your kids taken away. I mean, if you don't let your kids go, if you facilitate your kids not going to school, you can get your kids taken away.
Correct.
And there's a case just happened in Tennessee. A black couple, they were driving to a funeral in Chicago, and the police pulled them over, and they found a bag of weed, a small bag of weed, probably just like some personal use. And they were both booked in the county jail, and the kids were taken away by CPS, and CPS won't give the kids back. So even government has a very low threshold when it comes to things that you can do with children. And so the fact that you wouldn't have CPS knocking on these parents' doors for this kind of thing shows you right there what you're dealing with. Because I can tell you, if they caught you with a bag of weed driving through Florida, your kids would get taken away. And that's a lot lower bar today than putting them in front of sexually explicit content.
Right back to what I
Yeah.
was saying. If I notice that you're doing this kind of stuff, I'm going to say something. At the end, I got to. I'm not going to jail for you because you're a bad parent. I'm not.
Which and I understand that. Now that's the question that I pose is why didn't somebody say something? This
Right.
thing happened in December. This is now March.
Because they agree of it. They agreed to it. Where was this again? This was in Florida, right?
Yeah, it was in Florida. It was in Miami.
All right. So apparently it was in Miami, Florida. They agreed with it.
Not
Whoa,
to
whoa,
interrupt.
whoa,
Not
whoa.
to interrupt. One more thing. They tried the I don't know your name, the other guy with the more epic beard. They did your strategy. They all
Maladjusted.
mass reported.
Hold
They
on.
mass reported this. What you said earlier. If everybody mass reports it, something will happen. You heard in the story, a bunch of people mass reported it, and they
Any
showed videos
report-
and everything else, and it worked, just like you said it would. It worked.
Yeah. But they need to, again, because of what you typed in chat, all I'm going to say is exactly, it works. When you bring it to light, they have no choice because then you get to hang them with their own rope. So imagine if the same people that reported it, took 20 minutes out of their life to file a criminal complaint, what would have happened? But Gary, if you caught chat, Kevin said he's got a roll, so he's going to plug.
Yeah,
Well,
is
that's
that
what I-
okay? Oh, sorry, Erica. I didn't mean to cut you. I cut you off twice. I'm real sorry.
It's okay. Look, I always talk, so it's okay.
Oh,
No,
she's
what I
gonna
was
get a
gonna-
roll on this next part of the live. She's gonna get a roll. So don't worry about it.
But what I was going to say is you have to think about it though. A lot of times, how vested are people when they're out? Yes, they could have said, "Hey, this," but my thing is, were you saying it while the event was going on? Were you saying it, to somebody who could do something? Were you saying it to somebody at the event who could have pulled the person with the kids out of there? That's the other thing. Because yes, you're going trying to put the pieces together now. It's been months. What if those people flew in and flew back out? You may or may not know who was in seat C11 at this point in time. Depending on how you sold these tickets and how they bought the tickets, you may not have the whole roster. So I look at it on a parent standpoint, but I'm looking at it at a business aspect too. How many people are going to really say, this is the event that I went to on this
You
date
need to
and I
interrupt.
saw these people?
You're right. It's at the point right now where you need somebody that recorded themselves at that show with their kid.
Correct.
Or, so for instance, let's say I recorded it and caught you and your kid sitting next to you at the show, and I posted it on my Facebook. And you posted it on your Facebook. It's now, you're right, it's now second tier snitching that we need to do. And that I was scrolling through Erica's Facebook, came across this video of her being at this show where these things happened, and the video shows her with her minor child.
Correct. But now think about it. What if I posted it? I didn't have my minor child there, but the person next to me did, and nobody knows who this person is. What
Hold
if they
that
don't
thought.
have?
Hold that thought. Remember that, Erica. Maladjusted. Remember your rebuttal.
Yep.
We have Kevin from Red River TV that has to be out. And I want you to tell the people how to find you, what you're all about, and all that good stuff. And how the hell do you get that sexy, sexy beard? It's just wonderful. I just love how it looks. It just flows into the background. It's just beautiful.
Well, I just want to say before I go, while I have this ugly backdrop around me, that I really love what Gary's doing, and I love the platform that he's built over here, and I love the work that he's been doing on social media all these past few years. And I'm honored to be on this panel with you guys, a bunch of informed Americans. So before I go, you can find me at Red River TV on YouTube, Red River TV on Facebook, and Red River TV on Rumble. We are launching or premiering our documentary this weekend in 2 theaters on Saturday, and the documentary is called Saving Clayton. You can find that on Red River. You can find that on YouTube if you type in Saving Clayton, the Woolley family documentary. But it's a documentary about corruption in the state of Oklahoma as it pertains to a faulty murder investigation against a family. And we got to interview this family for the past 17 months. We interviewed probably 15 different people from Colorado to Texas. We interviewed the governor's dad. And it's about a family who was wrongfully accused of murdering and molesting their grandchild. And the evidence was completely made up. And CPS took their kid away, and they won't give him back because, in CPS's own words, they don't recognize exonerations. So this family was completely exonerated and found innocent of all the things they were charged with. So we're going to be putting that documentary out next week. We're going to be exposing a sheriff, a DA, and a bunch of other law enforcement folks in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So if you're in the Tulsa, Oklahoma area, definitely come through and check it out. A couple of our events have been sold out, but the 7 p.m. event is still open. So
Are we able
with that,
to live stream that or restream that?
We'll have to see. We'll talk about it.
Okay, cool.
We got some stuff we can give you you'll be able to show some previews.
All right, cool.
I just want to chime in, Kevin. I just subscribed to your channel. Looking at the content, it got some good content that I definitely want to check out. So continue, that path that you're on.
I appreciate it, man. I want to come back on here with y'all, man. I don't know why Gary invited me on this. This is fun.
Bullshit. Yeah. Nah, bull got bullshit.
What are you talking about?
Shit. You nasty bruh. You done canceled damn near every single meeting I had with you, bruh. Nah, I'm putting myself on the black. Look, Nick, look. Don't play with me like that. I've been trying to get you on the show since I met your goofy. Look.
You can call me Sambo. I got called Sambo by a liberal today. A liberal called me a Sambo, so you call me that.
They ain't gonna get you off the hook. Nah, you said some goofy shit.
I gotta ask this, Kev. So he says there was plenty of shows that you were supposed to be on, but you canceled, right?
Uh-huh.
Was it because when it came down to it, you was just like, damn, I'm just either busy or not in the mood, or something actually came up?
Man, Gary, no, I'm the type around this time. I like sitting on the couch with my wife. We like watching TV. We
Sound
watching
like you
You
YouTube.
see?
Sound like
You
I see
ignoring the
videos
question.
at 1
You
o'clock,
ignoring the
at
damn
1
question.
p.m.
You sat
Bro,
there and said, "This." We all know the damn truth. I don't feel like it.
Politician.
You know
No,
what?
y'all be
Erica
up too
P.
late. I ain't young no more.
Erica P. How
I'm
many
41,
times it's
bro.
like,
You think this is easy?
I'm the oldest one out of all of us.
It don't matter. Some of these late
How
nights, I
old?
be like, did I catch a nap in first? I
Nah,
gotta
how
take
old?
it down in the middle of the day so I can stay up.
Man,
I'm in that
bruh.
age bracket now.
People got.
I promise.
how-
I
how-
promise to
how
come
old?
back.
Stop lying. See. Look, I don't want your fake promises.
I want to be on Rumble because I'm trying to bring some heat. I got some stuff to say.
Dude, I said we was gonna do the second half on Rumble, but your ass
I
said you gotta
can't.
leave in freaking 45 minutes. That's on you. You could have.
I
You
gotta
could have
take
brought
care
the
of
heat
these
now,
kids.
bruh.
Yeah,
Listen,
don't you worry about it, Kevin. I'll harass Gary to get you back on because it's nice having.
I'm about to
it's
say
nice
you gotta be
having
like
you
me. You
on.
gotta get the kids set up first. It's like, all right, what
I
all do you
know.
need? What do
Look,
you need so I
Kev,
could get this going? Because I got
Kev,
3 of them, so I'll be knocking them
I'm
out
sick of
first. Like,
liars, bro. I'm tired of
get your
liars.
stuff done so I can go ahead
y'all
and
be
go on
busy too
live.
much, man. I'm
look,
sorry, I can't do that.
Kev,
He gonna
Kev,
call me out.
Kev, I'm not mad at you because there's times where it's like, yo, supposed to do a show, that comfortability set in, and it's like, I'm not beat. So I can relate to where you coming from. So I'm not mad at you, brother. Erica P
Yeah,
will tell
man.
you how
But
many times we had
man.
collaborations and stuff to do, and it's like, nah, I'm not in the mood, man. It's
Yo,
running late.
I know what you mean, but that hunger is there for me, bro. I'm hungry.
No, I get it.
Hungry.
I get it.
If
But-
I gotta be live at 2:00 in the morning, I'll be sitting there like,
See, I can't afford to do that because
Got that
I
grind.
operate heavier equipment at work. So I'll mess around and doze off behind the wheel. I'll tear something up. So I
Yeah,
can't.
I
understand
respect
the
that. I
hunger.
respect that.
You feel me?
I
But
respect it.
I know
I
my
respect that.
limitations.
I respect that. But listen, let's finish up with Kevin. Let him go. You know what I'm saying? You gotta take care of the cherry.
Absolutely. Well,
Hey,
I mean,
that's good. That's
I ain't got
definitely
nothing. I ain't got nothing else to say. I just good to be with y'all
Well,
today, and I promise
so-
I'll be back very soon.
All right, cool. So
go ahead.
I sent the link in there for you guys for Red River TV. His wife is phenomenal, by the way. She's awesome. People.
She better than me. I'm nothing. I'm behind the scenes.
Well, I mean, we already seen his wife, by the way, with the last premiere that I did, which was it Friday, I believe. We did a premiere last Friday. That was his wife. So yeah, we're going to see a lot more of them on the Gary Lamb Network. So that is it. Yo, thank you for coming, brother. Love you. I hope Erica remembers what she was talking about. I hope she wrote it down. Whatever would have you. Don't scratch your head. I told you to remember. I said to remember, didn't I? Because I knew damn well ain't nobody gonna remember this shit. I told you. I said, look, remember, because we ain't gonna remember. I know damn well I'm not gonna remember. And
Me,
I'm
I
not
know
gonna
I'm
rewind
not.
it to find out what it was. All right. So, Kevin, see you later. You got to go. Bye.
Appreciate you, brother.
Y'all can't be setting me up like that. Y'all know I start talking. I don't always remember. You might tell me to remember, and then it's like, nope, she started
You
Oh,
talking.
should have wrote it down.
You know what?
You would have wrote it down. You
The fact that you told her to
more than
remember.
enough time to know.
That's what
The
was
fact that
messing
you
me up.
told, the
gotta
fact
write
that
this
you
down.
told her to remember, that's what screwed it up. Because the pressure
oh,
is on
shit.
now.
Nah.
The pressure was on.
All right, I think I got it. I think I got it. Though.
All right.
So I know we was talking about the Hyatt Hotel thing, right?
Yeah.
And I remember saying, what if I was, they waited so long. So I was like, okay.
Oh,
what if
the
I'm the
last
one
thing you said was if you was in there recording, but the person next to you have a kid, whatever, and
Correct.
people might not notice,
Correct. And then my thing too is if I'm into the show, I'm not into the people that sit next to me. And I might not know them. So that's the other thing. I'll post it, But then it's like, well, how am I going to find out who was really sitting by me? They
But
might
if
not be
I'm
in my
watching,
network.
the hope is that you post the video, you don't know that. But once it's on social media, theoretically, hundreds of thousands of people are watching this video. So there is a chance that somebody knows this person. That's why we put up, do you know this person?
Yeah.
This is why
Just look at Crime Stoppers. Just look at anything with Crime Stoppers related. Yeah.
Okay.
Right? Is it a perfect solution? Absolutely not. But we all agree, I think, that first string should have filed a complaint. Like if I was a single person, I walk in, I see you there with your kid, I should be on my phone, 911. Hi, I'm at this location. There's a person with a child here, and this is absolutely inappropriate. Like these people should have been calling on each other, so to speak.
Now, here's my thing. Question: do you want these parents to lose their children? Because that's what's going to happen when you call, right?
Yes,
you do.
Absolutely.
But okay, so I'm gonna say this
because now, wait a minute, because now I'm thinking as a parent getting caught out there with something that you're not aware of. And I'm sitting here like, okay, what is it?
How are you not aware that it's inappropriate?
No. You're talking about a unique situation where I physically took my children to a drag show. Now, one, not everybody knew exactly what was going to be in that show.
Correct.
Okay. 1, 2. A lot of people. Wait a minute. Hold on. A lot of people would have probably felt obligated to watch the entire show in fear of being exposed because they're walking
at that
out.
point in time, it's not my problem.
I know what you're saying, but you're talking about peer pressure at its maximum. You're
peer
talking
pressure
about
versus your child having their
face
literally rubbed in it.
You are talking about a woke culture who do not look at it the way we look at it. You have to understand there is another side. There's another side of this equation that you don't see.
Oh, I see it. I just don't care about
it. I'm about to put you in timeout in a few seconds, okay? I'm trying to paint the pictures for you, all right? The point is, and I know you do this, you get stuck on this and you don't want to let it go. There is another side to it. It does not go hand in hand with the law. I did a poll a couple of days ago, knowing this was going to come up. I did a poll and I asked a goofy ass question. How do you feel about giving the death penalty to any person who's over the age of 18 dealing with a person under the age of 18? And I worded it in a way that it can, tackle all binaries and non-binaries and stuff like that. So whatever you want to call it yourself, it includes you. If you look at the comments, they're all over the place. You got people saying, well, it depends on if they met in high school and and I'm like, whoa. I'm talking about the letter to the law. You don't get to play that game with it. Some people said, some people said there's a gray area if you met in college or high school at that age, whatever, so on and so forth. But excluding all that, according to the law, an 18-year-old is not allowed to be having sexual relations with a 17-year-old because he or she is not considered an adult yet. They can't make that choice.
Not to cut you off, but it's 16, not 17, because I looked it up.
Okay, 16.
It's a certain amount of years that's in the
correct.
Okay,
there's a grace period, right?
But 16 is the lowest.
But what I'm saying is that those laws are so like, okay, well, what if they knew he's 19, 17? I'm like, yeah, I get all that. But the law states if she's 16 or he's 16 and you're 18, boom. So that gray area that you're talking, that you're missing, Mel, that's the gray area. But it is a gray area.
But you also have to look at what's culturally acceptable too, and I think that's the biggest factor. Is stuff that's culturally acceptable.
That's acceptable. So it's like, how do you fight that?
By not allowing culture to dictate laws. So let's hold on, because
culture all dictate law though. well, not always.
The
but in a
laws have
good
been
amount.
on the book. So dealing with your Romeo and Juliet scenario, these laws are on the book. That 16-year-old can be intimate with that 18-year-old if the parents allow it. Point number 2 is if you can't keep it in your pants, it's not a relationship, it's sex. So you don't want this 16-year-old having just sex with an 18-year-old. If they can't wait the year till it's legal, what does that say about the relationship? Is this conducive to our nuclear family that we believe in? So fine, culture might gray area. It's not gray area. We created laws that have been held for hundreds of years because these laws go back to pre-American. These go back throughout history.
Mhm.
So these laws have existed. So culture can honk on my you-know-what. No, there's already enough if and or. Oh, we lost Erica. Oh, there she is.
No, I'm here. It just covered me up at the bottom.
Yeah, we have a bunch of if and or buts that already cover all of these things that you're talking about. So now bringing it back to, it's not that I don't understand what you're talking about, Gary. I just don't care. I really don't. I'm tired
I
of
know that you don't care. What I'm
I'm
talking about is those who do.
I'm tired of allowing slippage in the law for this if and or buts.
Okay, so is it slipping if your daughter wants to do it?
My daughter wouldn't be allowed to do it, or I wouldn't condone it.
You may not condone it, but that might listen. There are going to be things that's going to change whether you or I like it. It's just
Like
what
what?
it is. I don't know, but there's stuff that change all the time.
The whole,
Like
the
what?
whole, just the LGBTQ community is a change in itself.
But
With
I don't
why?
know if it was a
allowing of
change, more of a
not change,
Look
but
at
no,
me.
but allowing the same-sex marriage and stuff like this,
Like
and
two?
transgenders using, the same restroom, like that's change, right?
But Wally, work backwards. We have the issues with the LGBT stuff we have now. Why?
Because of it
We
seems like
gave an inch and they
took a
the
mile.
took a mile. So I tried to give them an inch and shut my mouth and let culture dictate. And where has it gotten me? But here's the thing. These laws are still on the book. So you know what? I gave an inch, you took 20 miles, done. Now I'm putting my foot down. Now I'm not playing no more. Now the game's over. You behave in this manner. I see you out in public doing these things. I will speak out.
but Mal, culture eats policy any day of the week. You can have all the policies you want, but if the culture not doing what the policies say, what are we doing? Case in point, a woman can lie and say a guy ard her and all of this stuff, then later come around and say, oh, I was lying about it. If you going by the policy, she should get charges put on her. But
Yes.
they don't. That's the culture.
Hold
Culture
on,
eats policy.
Wally. Because you're skipping past one half of what you're saying.
Okay.
There's something else that you need to add to your statement.
Mm-hmm.
So she claims grape, rolls back on it, and you said they should lay charges and they don't. What's the next part of that sentence that you need to now add?
Why didn't they?
Right. And if they didn't, then why aren't you pushing for these charges to get laid?
Because people don't.
Right. But that's a choice on our end.
But here's the thing though. That kind of goes out the window because how many times, like for instance, last week on the show, I spoke about the whole BB gun thing, right?
Yeah.
When I stopped and actually, because I knew the kid's mother, when I actually stopped and spoke to the kid's mother on it, she's like, yo, what happened? Whatever, y'all was walking around shooting people with BB guns. I was like, yo, it had rabbit pellets in it. We were all playing. It was nothing serious. She was like, I'm going to go up, see about dropping the charges. You know what happened? The state picked it up. So why do this, if we're going by the letter of the law, why does this person have to keep pushing for it while the letter of the law says the state is supposed to pick it up and continue the charges. So again, culture always eats policy.
Okay, hold
No
on.
matter what, the state will always
I
most
need you to
likely
clean
pick
this
up.
up for me because it's my understanding. It's my understanding when the police charge somebody criminally, it's not the person charging them, it is the state right off the hop.
Okay.
You may file the complaint. So I shoot you with a BB gun. You go to the police. You're filing the complaint, but it's the state that chooses to charge.
Correct.
So at that point, after you filed the complaint, it's now out of your hands. You have nothing. You can go back and claim to recant, but you have no say. Once you filed that police report, it is now out of your hands. You even as the victim, you have no more say in the matter. You file the complaint, so unless you're claiming that you filed a false police report, which now you can be criminally charged, the minute you file that complaint, it is now the states that deal with it, not you. You are now nothing more than a witness.
Okay, so let me ask you this. The whole case with the Michael Irvin case that recently happened during Super Bowl week, a woman said that he did said some unpleasant things or whatever the case may be. It was something inappropriate that he did. He got taken off of covering the Super Bowl and the whole nine. It's basically saying that those allegations were false, and he turned around and put a complaint to that woman and is now also trying to sue that woman.
Yes.
I don't hear no criminal charges being put on this woman for giving false information to the police. And Michael Irvin went through the process of filing these complaints and reports against her.
Over it.
You said what? Yeah, he should. But he should. But what I'm saying is, if by what you're telling me, making the report, now it's in the state hands, if the culture is not to charge these women, it doesn't matter what the policies say because culture dictates policy. If the culture does not follow up on XYZ, policy means nothing. Culture will eat policy any day of the week.
All right, let's have fun with your two words. All right, you ready? Because you're using two words as if they're interchangeable. Policy is a policy. A law is a law. When the police choose not to follow a law, and it's obvious, there are laws to then charge and or sue the police. So this goes back to my discussion before about the law on the books called malfeasance. So Irving should say, if you cops are not going to charge her, he should then turn around and file suit against that police department who well know that she committed this criminal act. He should then be suing the police department. Yes. Is it a lot of work? Yes. Does it suck? But it takes one man to start the revolution, because then what happens, Wally?
But
Irving stands up and starts this process, and now the cops get nailed and have to pay fines to him, or not fines, what's the term? They have to do a payout to him over it. They have to.
Here's the thing with that. You're saying you turn around and sue and everything like that. A lot of these police officers or these police stations, so to speak, that money is not coming out of that individual officer's pockets. That's coming out of the tax payers' money. See, if I'm being affected where it's like, hey, Wally, you did something with the truck, so now we're gonna sue the company. In my mind, yeah, it's a possibility that I could get fired or something like that, but I'm like, whew, I missed a bullet there. The company's getting fined. If charges get placed on individual people for what they've done, that's when I believe the real change will be made.
Wally,
but if it's just dishing out money to people, I don't see.
Wally, malfeasance is a
Mhm.
person's ability to directly sue a government official who abuses their power.
Okay.
So he would be suing the cop. The
Got you.
police
Got you.
department cannot intervene because it is
Got you. Okay.
conflict of interest.
Okay.
That's why I keep picking on that law.
Okay.
So now cops have two choices: do their fucking job or become personally responsible for their choice not to follow the law.
All right, that makes sense. Okay, I got you. Okay, you're right. I agree with you.
As I'll say, and I like that you keep picking that part of the law
Yeah.
because think about it. People
Yeah,
choose the
yeah.
job that they want and the job that they choose to have. So you chose to have this kind of job. That meant you chose to do everything that you were supposed to do.
Got
So I like that you picked that part of it because that makes sense to me. It's
Right.
you chose the job. This is your job requirements. This is what you're supposed to do. When you start not doing it, I can hold you accountable.
Yep.
And I don't have to worry about your police department covering up for you. I don't have to worry about the state taking on that extra expense because you
Why should
chose
the
not to do your job.
taxpayers pay for a person's choice to not do their job?
And just if you haven't noticed, I'm the type of person, if it's not making sense to me, I'm gonna keep asking the same question till it makes sense to me.
No, exactly.
So yeah, so as soon as
I'm
you
the
broke
same
it down,
way.
I was like, I
Listen,
got it.
I will ask you a question multiple times in multiple different ways. You know, I get to a point where people be saying like, yo, you sound double-minded. No, I'm just trying to figure out how you talk
Yeah,
so I can understand what you're saying. Because I
exactly.
don't get it. I
I
know.
understand. Oh, keep going.
No, I'm just saying because our words are different, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If prime example. This is just look how different we interact just by passing each other on the street. Just think
Yeah.
about it. Black people do what? Nod up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
White people do what? Smile, right? A smile on an N-word, is a bad choice. Why? Because you come off what? Soft. So I'll nod up to a white person and they lose their mind because they're confused. They don't understand. Whatever's going through their mind is going to determine that interaction, even if it's just for a few seconds. Is okay. Do I do the thing? Is that disrespectful? Would that be wrong? If I look him in the eye too long, is that me intimidating him? Is that me challenging him? If I say hello, if I smile, because I know a lot of black people don't smile in their pictures, like all that going through your head, yeah, it's going to be stressful. You know what I'm saying? So that's just passing each other on the street.
Okay,
you're talking, and you're trying to use language to understand one another. Like, how are you going to do that?
Now, this is a side topic, Gary, my friend. You're
brother
being
from another
racist.
mother.
And unknowing. Your description of the black people and the nod thing. I hate to tell you this and be the bearer of bad news, but all thugs act like that, whether they're black wannabe gangbangers, whether they're white bikers, whether they're trailer park trash meth addicts. That isn't a black thing to nod up. The smile are those Abercrombie and Finch white guys that don't have a care in the world and aren't worried about upsetting somebody and getting their mouth rearranged. So I hate to tell you this, that's an everybody culture thing. It's specific to that type of culture, not a skin color. Just to point out,
I would say people who had to scrap,
right?
Because you had to identify. I'm not saying it's a black thing. What I'm saying is it is in fact a cultural thing. You just passing someone on the street can bring up those type of insecurities in a person, right? That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to make it a black thing. I'm just saying, like, if you are passing on the street with somebody that has never experienced anything, they may be wondering what up, fam? How you doing? Because they trying to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've dealt with a lot I've been okay for all my Caucasian individuals on the live today. I just wanted to say thank you for showing up for these black people right here. I just want to say thank you. And what I'm going to say to you is this: I've experienced a lot of you. And a lot of times I realize a lot of y'all don't experience a good portion of us. And it's comical when I see white people try to be hip.
Oh God! all I think of is the offspring. Pretty fly for a white guy.
So my wife, me and my wife be getting in the car because we be fake with y'all. Yeah, okay, we fake as hell, and we get in the car. Did you see how great? Yeah, oh my God, they were so uncomfortable. Like I feel bad for white people sometimes because they don't know what to do, cracking jokes and stuff. And I'm sitting here like, what the hell is she talking about? And my wife is saying, oh, she's talking about this situation. I was like, oh. Man, I'm not worrying about that crap. Just like Erica said, I'm not thinking about that stuff.
Yeah,
I ain't got nothing to deal with. I ain't worrying about that. So it's funny, it's comical and funny when you really sit down and think about it. But that's a huge barrier that we have to deal with.
And I can piggyback on that too, Gary, because I agree. It's like a cultural thing, so to speak. Because if I'm walking down the street, I could pass like an Asian person, a white person, like 5 Asian people, 10 white people, and I come across a black person. When I'm walking and interacting, I'll smile and say, hi or good morning, whatever. But when it comes to seeing a black person when they walk by, especially if it's a male, we give each other the eye and we just like saying like, all right, I see you here, brother. Something like that. So it's just a culture thing. Like, that's how we react to one of our own, but everybody else in passing, I'm like, hi, how are you doing? Interact, speak, and smile and everything. So it's a cultural thing. I wouldn't say necessarily like it's only exclusive to blacks, but it's just a cultural thing. That's all.
Well, I mean, I'm picturing, and again, I'm trying to picture me sitting outside in a wife beater, walking down. I got my cutoffs, my wife beater on.
Yeah.
All my inks hanging out and stuff like that. You go walking past me, white, black, whatever. You look at me and you're a man and you walk past me and smile and, hey, how's it going? It's going to creep me the out.
Are you giving them the angry man look? Are you giving them the angry man look?
I'd be stepping back like, dude, what do you want?
I'll be like, hey, brother, I'm just being cordial. That's it. I'm just being cordial. No disrespect. No disrespect.
But hold on. So now look at that. Look at how beautiful that was. I would have never known that.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't. You're right.
So
I wouldn't.
Okay, explain why that would. First of all, go over what you said for the folk one more time and explain why you feel that way.
Okay. I'm walking down the street in my normal attire. So I've got a white beater I cut off, all my inks hanging out, my shorts, what have you. And some dude comes walking, so we're walking towards each other, right? And some dude smiles at me and, hi, how you doing? All cheerful. My first instinct is going to be to punch him in the mouth. My second instinct is to wonder what the hell does he want, right? Because in the circles I grew up around, in the circles I grew up around,
I'm sorry. Wait a minute.
You don't talk to other people unless you want something like direct.
Wait a minute. Here's the thing. Why I'm laughing so hard because I would probably do the same shit.
Right.
Because it's so uncomfortable. Like, what the fuck?
Who are you? Why do you think?
Yo, what's going on? That is so. Yo, please stop being so weird. You weird as hell. You scare me because you don't.
Are you drunk, high, or lost? Because if you're not one of those three things, your mouth shouldn't have opened and said words to me, let alone smiled at me.
Now, that's when you ask the question, is this person slow? How many times have you like maybe it's one of those, and you look for clues to make sure that it's not, because somebody's just smiling at me like that. I'm like, okay, I'm on punk. Because out in the world, everything is so tense. The smile does spook me. Now, my wife and I, we was in an HOA, and my wife, there was a couple jogging towards us, and we're just walking. And my initial thing is to look away because I don't want to make eye contact. I don't want none of that problem. That's my initial thing. Look away. My wife chose to smile, and apparently it made them feel better, and she smiled back, right? But the initial wasn't a smile. We were squaring each other up in a way.
Right. You don't want to antagonize these people, make them want to stop and talk. I don't know you. I don't want to talk to you.
No. Oh my
Right.
God. The worst place is when you're in line. Jesus.
Oh God.
You get the old girls that's trying to see if she still got it.
See, but now y'all got a completely different thing for me because I feel like I got the talk to me face. I feel like everybody and their mother come and talk to me.
That's how I feel. This is what I'm trying to say to you. I get what you're saying. You look away because you don't want that conversation, but it'll show up at the line. That's the one place you can't run.
Okay, but see, for y'all can get away with that. My face is like, let me help you in the supermarket find something. Come talk to me. I got one of them faces. It don't matter how mean I look. People just think I'm a big softie and they gonna come look at me and ask me some questions. It don't even matter.
Here's the thing though, because like living in the area that I live in now, it made me take a whole different dynamic because living in Jersey, it was more so if you see somebody, you don't know them, you ignore them, you just keep walking, you walk past them. When coming down here, you know, in country area, people were speaking like, hi, how are you doing? This, that, and the third. In my mind, I'm like, yo, this is weird. It was freaking me out because I'm used to, if I don't know you, walk past.
You get the wave.
Now that I'm, you know, ingratiated, that's why I'm like the whole hello, how are you? That's how I am towards strangers because now it's like what's the word I'm looking for? Now I acquiesce with my environment. So where
situation.
Uh-huh.
When you're in a small town, village, or what have you.
Yeah.
Here's the way I work it in my brain. If you live in a place where you can see the same person 5 days a week on your path and notice them, then a smile and a wave or polite smile and a nod is understandable.
But see, that's the thing. These were people I've never seen.
But that's right.
And they just hi.
But they grow up when they grow up in these environments, that's the mindset. Where when you're in a city, and you're thinking as a man, if I nod or smile to a woman and she nods and smiles back, and my old lady finds out about it, I'm going to be whistling through my 2 front teeth, or the lack thereof.
Yeah.
Or some dude's going to get bent because I was looking at his woman. Or like when you grow up in a city, there's everything wrong with a guy looking and smiling at another human being. It's just an invitation for things to go sideways very quickly. So it's like, I'm just not going to be bothered, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Where when you're in a small town, even if the people you're smiling and waving to are strangers, what are they going to do about it? They might be uncomfortable, but they're going to turn around and they're going to be talking to their friend that they're visiting. Yeah, I was walking down the street and I saw this black couple. One looked like this and one looked like that. And they smiled and waved to me. And I'm like, I don't know. Oh, yeah, don't worry about that. That's just Erica and Wally. They live 6 blocks to the left from that white picket fence house with the pink mailbox. But
I'm gonna say they told all your business right there. Right. They be like, yeah, they walk the dog and the kids go like they do that. But that, and like you said, that's something that you have to pay attention to depending on where you're at. Because where I went to college at was different from where I grew up at. So you have to make those changes. I used to travel. When you travel to different places, especially when I would go from the north down to south visiting family, the atmosphere was different. You're talking, you had that homey feel. It's like, I ain't seen these cousins in 20 years, but everybody inviting you to the fish fry. They telling you they're going to be at so-and-so's house. So you have to be able to adapt a lot of times too.
Well, I don't know that we have to adapt, and here's the reason why. We need to clean up the cities so that we can go back to those kind of communities.
Mm-hmm.
We need to bring those communities back into the city. This goes back to what we were talking about last week. One of the things that I brought up. The reality is the cities have become the cesspits that they are because from the bottom down, and I'm going to tie this into what we were talking about before, it's the bottom down issue. We slipped at the bottom and now it's affected all the way up to the top, right? The nuclear family dynamics have gone down the toilet, which has allowed communities to go down to the toilet, which has allowed the bigger communities at large to go down the toilet, which is allowed. And it's the same thing with whether we're talking about the instance of grape that Wally brought up, or the rules and the laws when it comes to Trump, or this, that, and the other thing. The end of the road is we need to start going back to simpler times and forcing them to be simple again. We've allowed the swamp to affect our political. But you know what? Let's go one step back. We've allowed the swamp because the politicians are protected because of the laws. But are they actually protected by the laws? Or have we just allowed a bunch of bloat, gas, and algae to build up so that these laws are money now? So
you know what? Not to cut you off, but you have to think about it too. Not everybody knows the laws. So a lot of times people get away with the stuff that they're doing because people don't have the time to pay attention.
Now, which brings me to a point I don't know that I made in our last show, but that you'll hear me say over and over again, and I say in the regular show. There are a lot of laws that exist that we could create templates so that you, me, Wally could hop on, go to our state, and download the PDF and have a how-to manual of how to self-represent and file for these things. And before anybody tries to tell me differently, you can go into Google right now, okay, Erica? And I can walk you through verbally how to get a hold of a self-help kit for divorce and child in custody and child support from where I am from.
Okay.
So I can walk you through the search terms and what to download, and then you can download a PDF, and it literally fill this out, do this, file this like this, then do this. It walks you through pretty much by the hand how to get your divorce, what you need to do for custody and access, what you need for division of property, what you need for child support, what you need for spousal support. It walks you through the whole thing. Because here's the question I'll ask Erica. Do you know what it costs to get divorced?
No.
Take a guess.
Maybe, I'm going to say maybe $500, maybe.
Right. All said and done, the actual court costs are maybe $500. The other 30 to 40,000 that people start spewing come from where?
That's the lawyer.
Right. So if we can start taking some of these laws, making them stupidly simple and straightforward again, so that people can self-represent, so they can walk in, file it, and do it, then guess what? Now you're going to start seeing people worry. You'll see these cops worry. Wally, if you were a cop and knew that every Tom, Dick, and Harry can hop on the internet, download, and file a complaint and sue you for not following the law, you're going to make probably one or two choices. Quit and get something safer, or you're going to follow that law to the strictest letter.
Yeah, that's true.
So is that going to force police to be less corrupt?
Of course.
And you know what they say? If you want to hurt somebody, hurt them in their pockets. Oh, that's going to hurt them quick. Like that's going to,
Right. So you start making these laws straightforward and simple again, and giving the power back to the people. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do? At any law, at any courthouse, one of the government here's a social program I'm willing to pitch into. Every courthouse is required to have 2 lawyers on staff for the general public to be able to walk in for help with their paperwork.
Mm. Mm.
Crazy thing is, I can remember years ago, I took a landlord to court, right? I remember I was in an apartment. I remember they weren't doing repairs, things like that. I remember doing the legwork myself and going to court. But then on the flip side is I felt like because I was trying to do everything myself, I felt like when I got there, people really didn't want to say nothing. And I knew they had legal aid there, but then it's a challenge. Oh, we don't have any appointments right away, or you have to call and schedule. And it's like, okay, but if I call and you don't answer, how am I supposed to utilize your service? Or your service is only for low income. Well, maybe guess what? I'm not in low income, but I did the stuff myself. I researched, I came down to the office, got the paperwork, filled it out, go all through the system, and then guess what? They don't even show up. So now it's like, all right, we're back in court again. What am I supposed to do? And the crazy thing is, a lot of times the judges are helpful. The office is not helpful, but once you get in front of the judge, if I did the wrong thing, they'll go, hey, next time you need to do X, Y, and Z, and then you show back up. So I'm like, a lot of times, if people really want to do something and you really take the time and search it, you could do it.
Now, here's the thing. I just want to correct myself for you. I didn't say legal aid. Not legal aid. There's no financial questions. It's literally a website. You go onto the website and you give them your first and last name and grab the time slot. And then show up on that time slot. There's no financial questions. They don't need to know how much you make or what you do. But you're given 1 hour to walk in, talk to that lawyer, and have them look over your paperwork for you.
I didn't even know that.
No, I'm not saying it exists. What I'm saying is
it should be something that should be there.
Okay. That's a social program. I'd be willing to throw my tax money into.
But you're right, though, because think about it. A lot of times people will go through the steps, and it could be a simple question. It could be a simple line that they forgot off of a paper that either got their court date thrown out, then extended the process even longer. So you're right. That is a social program that I probably would be interested in. Right? Just because you don't know if you'll ever get into that circumstance, but I'd rather do that. And because it's somebody trying to help and better themselves or trying to get justice for themselves, at least they're doing the steps to try to get themselves to that point.
Exactly. Giving the power back to the people where it belongs. Right? And I think by doing that, you're going to force all matters of both politicians and government employees, whether we're talking child protection services, the police, what have you. You're going to start forcing some of these people to do their jobs better all the way up the chain, right? Because, okay, let's say you're a protection worker and I file suit against you. Well, you're going to turn around, you're going to protect yourself and say, Randy, not happening.
You'd be like, here's my notes.
Here's my note from my supervisor. And I'm going to say, okay, I withdraw. And now I'm going to refile my petition against your supervisor. You're going to do your job, but you're also going to go out of your way to make sure that you're following every letter of the law. And I'll give you, and I like child protection services as a good example. This is not legal advice, chat. Don't take what I say as the law. Blah, 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 blah. On top of which I'm Canadian, not friggin' American. All right, with that said. So here in Canada, a CPS agent can show up to your home. So here's what I've done when it's happened to me. I crack the door open, the front door, and I step outside and I close the door behind me. So that CPS agent asks all their questions. I'm recording the entire interaction. And then after they're done, I turn around and say, all right now. Do you have any legal reason to be concerned for the safety of my children? And you keep asking that question till they answer yes or no.
Okay.
Now they're at a problem where because the minute they say no, I'll turn on and say, okay, thank you for your visit. Thank you for your concern. Have a great day. Now, I've had CPS, well, we have to do a walkthrough through your house. No, go get a warrant. Have a great night. And then I've stepped in the house, closed the door. Guess who doesn't show up?
The warrant.
Right. But they're going to have you believe that they have the right to come in, that you don't have the right to tell them no. They're going to make you believe these things, right? So, sorry, the message that popped up, losing Will, they did general BS to kill Will. January 6th, sorry, is a good example, too, of what I'm talking about. A lot of these people should be looking into civil and legal action that they can do themselves. January 6th is a good example of where, imagine if all these January 6th people got together and started suing the newspapers for false representation of facts, defamation, slander, what have you, right? Imagine if all these people started hitting every news agency, every newspaper agency, Google, whoever, and all start banding together, one class action suit after the next. Each individual one might not be very big. 100,000 of them, or however many January 6 people there are. He's flashing his baby browns.
Do I hear a message?
I don't
One
know.
by himself can't do much of nothing. But
Right.
remember that
True.
parable of the moving ants?
Mhm.
When he had the walnuts, he threw them at them people, and he said, listen, one off, like, that's nothing. And he said, all right, imagine he pulled the whole thing out and all the walnuts came and knocked everybody out. Those ants outnumber us 101. And the moment they realize that,
And again, especially if you can bring suit against people like AOC directly,
That's true.
right? For her claims.
Hello.
of January 6th.
hello. And if you overwhelm them that way, it doesn't matter if you only got $30 or $50 or $100. If everybody with their $100 was doing that,
And the crazy
How
thing
many
is, a lot of times it ain't even $100 to file the papers.
Yeah, but we're
$75, $35, they got to answer
maybe,
it.
maybe 30. I might say maybe 30 to 50.
yeah.
Do I have to mail? You know, sometimes you got to mail the response back in, and it got to get there at a certain time. But if I
It's
got
work,
that
you know.
gas money, I might be taking the
You know
papers
what?
back myself.
Shout out to Logic Rex because he taught me this, right? This man
Rex.
will freaking write a freaking letter. He will write a letter. All right. He will write I remember him, he be saying, I done pissed this person off, and to heck with Hochul and all this other stuff. And I'm getting it, and I sent to this letter, and I sent another letter to this person, and they may not listen to me, or they not hear me, but I'm sending a letter. He's one letter writing. If everybody was doing that and going up to the next level and the next level and the next level, just overwhelm them. You know what I mean? Like tie them up the way they tie us up.
Right.
But you got to think about it though. That takes time, and
No, it doesn't.
It'll for somebody to write a letter, even if it's 3 to 5 minutes. It really has to be a reason that person feels like they're either at a disservice or feel like they really want to be heard.
Okay.
There's so many things that could probably be resolved if somebody did take that time and sit down and write a letter.
How about petition.org? I'll take the time to write the letter and post it so that anybody and everybody. So all I'm going to do is hashtag it on publicly and say, by the way, there's a letter written to complain against this person. Copy, paste it, put your name and email in it, and send it off.
I say every time I talk to you, I learn something new because I didn't know that.
Find somebody with a web background, and it can be built right into the web where, again, like petition.org, where the letter's written. All you're doing is
One second. Walls, are you okay? Because I'm sending you messages in the private and you ain't saying nothing, so I'm wondering if you even got them. You good? Okay.
I said he probably good.
I just was wondering because I didn't know if because he don't respond to the private. So I'm like, yo, respond
You
to
know
the
what?
private.
He's probably like me. I have it on comments more often than I see.
I
the private
agreed, but there's a
messages.
thing that says 2, 3, 4 letters. Messages. Hold on, let me just bring him up. What'd you saying?
And he probably was talking to himself.
Yeah, I did.
He
Like that's
talking
the
nobody
thing.
who listened to his ass.
Because I saw I was backstage, so I'm like, all right, I'm backstage. You know, it is what it is. But I'm watching the comments. Sometimes I don't even see the private chat, whatever. Like I'm oblivious to it. Sometimes, like the notification for the private chat. But
That's why I'm asking you publicly because I was like, I don't know if he's seeing the privates, but I'm gonna go ahead and ask.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Trust me, when I'm ready to chime in, I'll chime in. I'm just loving the back and forth between Mal and Erica.
It's beautiful, ain't it?
Yeah.
Well,
let
and
him cook
here's
some
the
more.
thing.
Let him cook some more.
And here's the thing. Guess where I'm going to roll this back to, Erica? My comments last week about the school thing.
Okay.
Right? You can see it, can't you?
Yeah.
Right? If people started banding together to do these things. So it's all these little things we've let slip in 100 different ways. The parents used to have the power at the school. Well, wait a minute. They still have the power. They just choose not to get together, band together, and complain together to use the power.
Yeah.
And you found out the hard way. It's like, look, I'm willing to stand up and be a voice. All I need is for you mofos to stand up behind me so that they can see you and count you.
But you know what? That was the hardest thing. Trying to figure out who else was going through a similar problem and trying to figure out who to talk to. Because, like I said, I went to the school district. I called all them numbers that they had listed on their website that nobody was answering. I sent probably 4 emails to the same batches of people because I still couldn't figure out. Do you not understand? Even when I told you about, my little one and trying to get her into their version of either online school or homeschool for preschool, they didn't send anything back for months. The school year was halfway over before I finally got a response back. And then it was, oh, well, by the way, they're in school. I said, well, my older ones are still not in school. So what's the alternative? Where's my resources? At that point, I had already signed up on, I didn't sign up on any what was it? They were telling me K-12, but because it wasn't kindergarten at the time, there was no pre-K-12. It was basically K-12 or that was it. So then it was like, okay, well, once I figured out we liked activity pages and liked Khan Academy, it worked for me. Everybody's kid is not like that though. So then it was like, okay, well, if your kid is not like that, what resources do you use? Think about it. This was the height of COVID. I mean, the libraries were closed. So I wasn't going to go to the library and get free books, but I did reach out to the library and found out, hey, there's an online app that I could download or I could pull it up on the computer. That gave me a free resource right there. I got a book reader. She was 4 years old reading whole books. Bet. Perfect for you. I Googled everything on Amazon, and I'm not gonna lie, I sorted the cheap ones first because she was flying through the stuff so much that I was like, okay, we're gonna start with some $5 books. I went to Dollar Tree and picked up stuff. Like I had to basically create my own curriculum because pre-K4 online just wasn't a thing at the time. But like you said, trying to find parents who were going through my problem was the hardest thing I could do.
Right. So with that comment that Erica made, Gary, can you bring up actually Danielle's last comment that you had up? Because, go figure, Gary, what does that say? Where do we hear basically the words that are coming on the screen from every fucking show? What comes out of my mouth? This is why I go back to nuclear family, strong community. You wouldn't have this problem if your whole community was properly banded together like it used to be. because you would have been able to have this, and because you're talking to the neighbors on either side. Yeah, you know what, Erica, I did that, and this is what and so now you got 3 women in the backyard screaming about the school board, talking to each other, sharing what resources they have. The lack of the community creates a lack of information, creates a lack of power.
Yeah.
So so let's not play this game anymore. We've been down this road multiple times. It seems like we're interested in doing this.
Wally wants in.
Wally wants in now. You're gonna have to now wait, because now I'm not playing. I'm ready to say some stuff. You know what? Damn it. Still in my damn stuff. All right, bring your ass. Bring your ass. What do you got?
Say what you have to say.
What I'm saying is that I'm like, okay, so we can play this game as long as we like. You know what I'm saying? The foreplay is over. The foreplay is over. We've been foreplaying for a long time. I done took y'all out to eat. I done took y'all out to dinner. I've took you picnics. I've given you picnics, guys. Oh my God. You know, I started off just taking you, getting some ice cream, just saying hi at 11 o'clock because that's our lunch hour. I started off real nice, and now it's time to get into the main course. It's like, let's get past the foreplay, let's get into it. There's time to talk about it, it's time to do it. Now it's time to do it. What's the steps to do it? And I know that's a question that might have to wait after Wally Walls go, but just keep that in the back of your mind. Where do we go from here? What is the next step? Because the conversation has to turn into action at some point.
It's actually really, it's simply complicated. You have
where's the start? Where's the starting part?
Each person is going to have to pick something that's important to them, blast it all out to get feedback in groups, and work each problem. Take any problem that so let's say we're talking about let's deal with school as an example. All right.
Are we going to plug into any other? There might be some similarities to some group that's trying to do the same thing. Is it something we can plug into?
Well, where I'm going to go right now, what I'm going to say right now works for everything. Okay. So rule number 1 is KISS, and that is keep it simple. Right. So basing our life off
Shout out
that.
to Tag for reminding me of that stuff.
We're going to turn around and we're going to take any problem you want to throw on the table. So your problem that you're having with the Board of Education crap, okay? Mm-hmm. So you take that problem and you write out what your problem is for yourself. Now what you want to do is you want to look at that problem and can I break this down into smaller chunks? Because we want to follow rule number 1, and that is?
Keeping it simple.
Right. So we want to break every problem down to its base, to its root problem. There might be 20 root problems, but can we handle 20 root problems at a time? No, because that breaks rule number 1. So we're going to break it down into the 20 problems. We're going to pick any one, and we're going to research it. But at the same time as we're going to research it, we're going to blast out, whether it's on our social media or what have you. Hey, I'm looking into this problem in this place. Here's an email. Create a dummy email specifically for this one program. So you hop on a Gmail and you call it enter simple problems name here at gmail.com, right? And you have people start emailing you with information. You will then also notice people of like mind and like places and say, hey, thank you for all this great information. I'm going to start combining it. But if any of you are interested in, we could create a Facebook group or this kind of group or that kind of group. How do you all think about this and who wants to get together so we can start working through this problem? So now step 2 is compiling our people and our information. Step 3 is then forming a group. Step 4 is creating our paperwork with the steps that we need to solve said problem. And then step 5 is implementing. There you go.
Correct. So, and like you said, some of those steps I actually did. So when I had set kids in that school district, what did I do? I joined the parent board. I actually became the parent board president. Had to, because nobody else wanted to take that job. I had the time. I was working from home at the time. So if they wanted to call a meeting during the middle of the school day, guess where I was at? Middle of the school day, sitting right there in the meetings. Why? Because I had the luxury of being able to work around that schedule.
Mhm.
After that, what did we started doing? It was the height of COVID, so we started creating Zoom meetings. It was the easiest thing to get everybody in who could log in. I changed the time probably multiple times. At first, it was right after the kids would have gotten out of school, so 4 o'clock. We found that we had more participation if it was right after school than waiting to 5, 6 o'clock at night sometimes. You also, you know, by then I think we got maybe 20 parents, which worked. When you're talking, you might have 25, 30 kids per class. You got at least 3 to 4 groups of each class. I had up to 25 parents at one point. I loved it. Why? Because I realized I wasn't the only one with an issue, but we were at least able to start talking about it. Because that was the other thing. Trying to figure out how to get these people together was an issue. Created the school already had a Facebook page. So I just started dropping stuff on their Facebook page. Guess what? A lot of parents I didn't know was already subscribed to the page. Or, in passing, somebody was like, oh, I know so and so who kid graduated from there years ago. Same problems we had. Okay, so what did I started doing? Messaging some of them parents to see if they ever got a resolution to their problem. A lot of times, no. A lot of times it was, hey, I pulled my kid out of that school district, or they aged out that school district. But at least I was able to figure out who they spoke to see if that particular person was still in the school district to try to get stuff done. So yeah, I had time. I was bored. Some of them steps I actually tried to implement. Flip side is, go ahead.
Let's work off that first. Shame is a beautiful thing. It really is. So let's take that step that you took there. If it was me, my next step in that would have been you thought too small. If your school is having this issue, what's your issue was ultimately with the board, correct?
Correct.
So if your school and your school's parents are having this issue, how many other schools are attached to that school board?
See, this is the kicker. So the school, like I told you, the school district was Irvington. There were 5 elementary schools that were like in the district.
Mhm.
What they started doing is they started sending kids to the charter school if the parent felt that they had a need to fix, which to me was wrong.
You're over. How many schools fall under that school board's umbrella?
Okay, so there were 5 K-5 schools. You had 3 middle schools and 1 high school. That's it.
All right, so almost 10 schools.
Yeah.
So for me, again, because I want to keep it simple, but shame works, I'm going to create a Facebook group. I'm going to create a wiki page. Irvington School Board of Failures.com.
I didn't even think of that one, but go ahead.
And I'm going to start listing the failures. And then I'm going to start adding all the information that I get. And then I'm going to go on to that. I'm going to tell all the people at my school and all the other people that I can find, please come to this webpage and add what you can. And then I'm going to go on the school's webpage, on their Facebook page. And what am I going to draw?
The link.
Come visit us at Irvington School Failures.com. Now, what are those teachers and staff going to do?
Oh, they talking. They talking like, wait, why is the school's name out there? What's going on?
Oh. Now the school's name's out there. And in here, now some of the teachers' names are out here. Well, I talked to Miss Such and Such, and I talked to Mr. Such and Such. And this is what he said, and this is what she said. Now people are getting called out.
Yeah.
One web page, and how many people did I just embarrass?
You'd have probably dropped the bomb on at least 10 to 20 people, depending on
The whole school
where it
board.
was.
No, the whole
Yeah.
school board. You embarrass a whole school board. Because if you are able to do that, oh my God, I love that. I love that.
Now, what are the teachers going to start doing? They're going to start throwing the higher ups under the bus because they don't want to be The ones known. Well, no. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was Pope John Paul, the school supervisor, who told me people are very quick to save their own skin, especially when they're being publicly shamed.
Yeah. See,
So now
listen
I'm going to start getting the names of the higher ups. Remember how you couldn't get a name for the school board? I bet you within 3 days of doing this and getting it out there, within 3 days to a week, you're going to have the top supervisor at the school board's name, number, email address, and maybe even his physical location.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say. So
whoa. It seems that Danielle disagrees.
I know she probably does, but being that I've done this over and over again, I know it works.
Well, I was going to say the names was already out there. You go on a school board website. It's professionally done. I had the names. I just didn't have it. They weren't responding back. So that was the kicker. It's like, I'd have called you and left you 6 messages. I get that y'all working remote, but at one point or another, you got to check these voicemails. And then it was, oh, well, so-and-so doesn't do that anymore. Okay, well, you ain't update your website. Who's the new so-and-so? So I'm like, I felt like that was the other thing. It was like, oh, well, this was the height of the pandemic. So you didn't know who was doing what. And it's like, okay, but that's what people have web pages for, right? You have web pages to make sure that you keep it updated. You have telephone numbers to make sure that you answer or at least respond. I'm going to keep it simple. Give me 48 hours. If I call you on a Monday morning, how about you respond by at least Wednesday? Don't let me call you on a Monday morning and then you take 4 weeks to respond. That to me doesn't fix any issues. And it also doesn't hold you accountable for anything.
I'm intrigued to know why Danielle says that it won't work. But listening to this, what does this tell us? Like listening to this conversation, what does this tell us? This tells us that our problems is basically our communities.
Correct.
So like Mal always say, you bring the nuclear family together, you build our communities, there's pretty much nothing that you can't overcome, so to speak. And this is why I say I don't care about the left and right, because at the end of the day, that left and right, all it does is basically put a mask on all of our eyes on the real problems that we have going on. So if we're at odds with each other about, oh, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican, you're a conservative, you're never focused on the real issues that are happening in our communities, which basically keeps us at odds with each other and never take care of the underlying issues.
And this
So
is
that's
why
why I
say,
love these conversations.
and that's why I say the left can go play on their side, the right can be over there. Let them fight and burn their societies to the ground. Read between the lines. I'm packing my bags, grabbing my ball, and I'm going over here. I'm the third group.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the group that wants to fix things and get things running again. Now, Danielle, you popped out about defamation and harassment. Here's the thing. You never communicate with these people outside of their business emails. 2, nothing posted on these complaints are directed at a teacher. All you're providing on this page, so you'd have to have a moderator, obviously, but all you're providing on this page is what information you were given and by whom.
Yep.
So you'll never run into that as an issue.
Yep.
Okay, so it looks like on one of her comments, she says she's in a small area. So she said it was 3 schools. The DOJ stepped in with their stuff. That's it there. So but now the flip side for that is when you start doing some of the smaller areas, I'm starting to realize the response is more of a we don't have the money in the budget, we don't have it allocated, we don't have a person. That's a problem all in itself too. Because if you're supposed to have certain programs and you don't have them, that's the hardest thing to get too. And it's not always just one parent. You get a few parents that band together and then they're sending you to the next school district. Well, if the parent, the sister school district on one side or the other, you're sending me to those, guess what? A lot of times that falls on me. I have to figure out the transportation to get my kid there because the school district that I pay the taxes to decides not to utilize those taxes for the programs that they should have. That's the issue. And then, yes, if you're depending on who you're speaking to and they feel like you're threatening them, then yes, at what point it's like, how do I fix that? I don't know. Because like you said, I like your suggestion where you said to keep it professional, only their work email, things
Work
like that.
emails and everything. Yeah.
Correct. But sometimes it's like, at what point do they think it's almost like you're spamming them? I don't have another word that's popping in my head right now, but it's almost like you're spam emailing them and they're still not giving you the response.
My rule of thumb is the rule of 3.
Okay.
I never send on any one issue more than 3 emails. Here's my initial complaint. My next one is I haven't gotten a response from you yet. I'll be or I haven't gotten a response. Please respond within the next 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks later, this is my final follow-up one. At which point in time I can take those 3 emails from, say, the teacher and then go to the vice principal. And then I start emailing the vice principal. And then I take the 3 emails from the teacher and the vice principal and bundle them with the email to the teacher or to the principal. And then after 3 to the principal, and then so on
The
and so forth.
superintendent, and then the board of work your way up the court, the
Work
ladder.
your way up the food chain. So
Yep.
Danielle, this isn't this isn't the place. All I'm going to say is my understanding of the law is you're wrong, and I'm going to leave it at that. I've been there, done that, and never had any negative impacts or threats because they're unable to. This is against government agencies. This is against, maybe you're right and it's different in the United States, but from the people that I've spoken to, again, my method functions and it's not illegal. It's not defamation and slander, so on and so forth. So I'm not going to get much past that in the conversation. Rex, I disagree. Laws will fix it because the laws are already on the book. Not making new laws, relying on the laws that exist and have existed. Because most of the social programs are a direct result of not applying the law or manipulating the law to create special protection for special interest groups.
Mm-hmm. There's a DOJ steps in publishing substantial information as libel and defamation.
So, because now we also have to keep in memory here. Here's the other part that we glazed over with the description too, Erica, and that is this. We were only talking about that one school board.
Correct.
But what's the chances most school boards were playing the same game?
They probably were. And I think that was the other thing. It's like if they
So
were
what happens
doing
when
the
that gets
same.
out? So once you start your movement and this campaign, all of a sudden you get Erica 2 from this school board over here. Hi, Erica 1. My name's Erica 2. I like what you're doing. Can you walk me through this? I'll do you one better. Why don't we just group up? Because the rules and the laws are all the same. We just need to change the name of the school board that you're dealing with. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And eventually it's one person on a local news station complaining about the local school board. It's now a national story because it's 100 small groups that have banded together complaining about the entire state of Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's a state, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
I can never remember if it's a city and a state or both. And
I think it's both, right? I think it's both.
It's Oklahoma City in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Okay, Rex, you don't want the answer to that question. The war on drugs was never a proper war on drugs. You want the solution to that and how to get it? Put a bullet in people's heads. In Minecraft. 3 felonies, you're a lifer. You're a lifer, you're done.
Yep.
Bring back the death penalty and apply it to more things. Open carry.
I believe in eye for an eye type law. Like, I think if we had an eye for an eye system, I think that would make a lot of people scared to commit crimes. That's just my opinion. Eye for an eye. You are somebody, put you in a room where a bunch of people are you or whatever. You still get your finger or whatever chopped off. Eye for an eye system. I guarantee you'll keep people more honest, a lot more honest.
Well, because we're soft. Everybody and most of chat has heard this tirade if they're regulars. He just had a little bit of weed on him argument and shove it where the sun don't shine. If you're willing to buy your weed illegally, more likely than not, your moral compass slips in other places too. So it's not just weed. If you're selling a gram here and a gram there, you're not just going to, can I see your ID and make sure you're over 21? Even though I'm selling this illegally, I'm going to card check you because I don't sell the kids. BS. Let me guess, you asked all your clients where they're getting their money from. You're not asking if the guy, the addict that's coming to you every day to buy a couple of grams of weed to get high, whether or not he robbed somebody or anything like that. One crime begets another crime. Ergo, in my argument, there's no such thing as a low-level drug dealer.
Yeah.
That I get, but I'm also throwing this out there too. I want both legal and illegal. So I need that all the way around. Because guess what? Some of this legal stuff out here is just as bad and worse. So if that's the case, I want everybody to be held accountable. I want all of it.
And I would guess that if we looked, there are laws to hold people accountable.
Correct.
We just choose not to apply them. This goes back to the DA statement that Kevin had made. I guarantee that if the four of us could go look at New York City laws and New York State laws and find a dozen different laws to push against that DA that's refusing to prosecute. Yeah. Us four without a legal background could find legal arguments to push against this DA.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. 100%. The thing that I like that you said is you don't believe there's no low-level drug dealer, and how that little crime basically mean they're probably indulging in other areas of criminality. That's the same thing I preach when it comes to, like, for instance, my son. He'll lie for the dumbest things, and I'm like, you have to nip that in the butt, because that lying for those little things can venture into bigger problems. It starts off small, then it starts to gravitate towards other and bigger issues.
If you're going to lie to me about eating those 2 damn cookies on the plate, how do I know you're not going to lie to me about something that's actually important?
Exactly. Yep.
And again, I use the example of they stole my son's bike 2 months in a row. So my son lost 2 bikes. And as a result, what is the emotional and mental effect that had on a 10-year-old child?
Oh, it's astronomical.
Right? So this low-level dope dealer that's selling drugs got somebody who steals bikes so that they can pay for their drug habit, has effectively screwed mine and my kid.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't know me, but they've affected me.
Yep. Yeah.
Here's a good example. And I'm going to use my own children as a funny story to this example. So you've got 3 kids, right?
Yeah.
How many times you told them not to stick metal in the electrical socket?
I ain't had them problems yet. I haven't gotten there.
I remember telling my kids this thing, right? Mm-hmm. My kids were about 4 years old at the time. My 2 oldest daughters, they're about 4 years old at the time. Mm-hmm. And we're at Blockbuster to rent family movies for the weekend. And Blockbuster, where we went, you had all your movies in front of you, and on the floor at the low level is a plug-in about every 4 or 5 feet.
Blockbuster is such a throwback, but
I
know. Well, go on.
Well, I'm sitting here, and me and the wife are looking through the movies to find something to pick, and not thinking she handed the car keys to one of the daughters to play to keep her busy while we were reading through the the backs of the movies to see what.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, all we heard was this shrill scream, and the lights of the store flickered.
Oh.
And I looked down, and there's my one daughter.
Oh no.
Are you okay? Did you stick the keys in the power? Did it hurt? You gonna do it again? People learn through pain.
I'm surprised that would I thought you do that. That's a death sentence.
Well, no.
Wow.
So
current.
None of my other kids have ever stuck anything, including her, have ever stuck anything metal in a power plug-in ever again. We learn through pain, either direct or indirect. When we see something happen to another person, we tend not to do that thing. In that, if, let's say I'm going to take you, Wooly, you ever gone snowboarding?
No, I want to though.
I have.
So I'm going to bag and tag you, and we're going to head off to Alberta, and we're going to go snowboarding. You're going to watch me go, and all of a sudden I'm going to get taken out by a tree and bust myself up. Broken arm, broken leg. What's the likelihood you're going to go down that hill?
I'm not going down there.
Right. So you learn through my pain.
Exactly. Yeah.
So is it cold? Is it heartless? Maybe. I know everybody's going to try to argue against the my stance on the drug thing, and power to you. I've had this opinion for 30 years almost. Good luck on you changing my mind now. And this is somebody who used drugs illegally, among other things. So moving along, right? We learn through pain, and again, my other fun story is when I was growing up and I did something stupid, I expected the cops to catch me. I expected the cops to beat me. They would then hand me over to my father, who would slap me around for a little bit, who would then hand me over to my mother, who would give me a punishment. So for the average person, that was a big enough deterrent to avoid doing something bad. Why has criminality been on the uptick? Well, it's because we become softer and more lax on
all this criminal reform and all of this stuff. Like, look at what happened the minute they said, okay, if you're like stealing stuff, or what is it? Is it larceny? That's when you like steal without a weapon. I forgot what it is. But for simple crimes like that, you can't get help. Like, you don't. This is in New York City. You can't lock them up, so to speak, where they got to make bail. It's those offenses don't require you to post bail to get out. What did you start seeing? People going up stores with trash bags, just
the Walgreens
shopping. Yeah,
I remember that.
Just shopping. And what you don't realize is that is gonna hurt that community in itself, because now you got this person that's robbing the store is losing money. So now what do they got to do? They got to up their prices to make up for all the losses they have.
It's
Amazon, even Amazon was saying, like, because people were robbing their trucks, their delivery trucks, they were saying now they got to raise their prices and stuff if this continues, Did
you not see the Walmart story?
Yeah.
Walmarts are shutting down. Walgreens are shutting down. And in what communities are they shutting down?
Lower
the
income.
Poor communities that freaking require them to be able to afford things. So let me get this straight. Thanks, you wankers. You burn our cities to the ground, steal, forcing these big box stores to say, yeah, it's not worth our time or energy. We're now leaving, creating more poverty because now all these people have lost their jobs. The city's now lost a bunch of tax money. And the people that relied on shopping there in this age of inflation now have to travel farther at a bigger expense and pay more for the products. Yeah, good job, dumbasses.
Exactly.
But think
Exactly.
about it though. That's why when you start looking at this stuff, the the lower income communities are the ones that are always going to be the ones with the issue. The crazy thing is, even when you look at their stores, they keep their stores on lock and key. You go 20 miles out, 30 miles out, it's not the same. But they're both like you're having stealing in both. So it's like, why are you treating one community lock and key? Somebody gotta come give you the baby body wash. Why is that something that I gotta wait 30 minutes for that one store associate to go from the register to come get it, where I can go to a whole different area and I got the $40 cans of baby formula sitting out and I ain't gotta wait for somebody. Like,
Well, I'm gonna
make
make
that
this
make sense.
well, I'm gonna make this a bit cultural, maybe racial component. So let's take an example of Walmart locking up certain hair products.
Mm,
Why were those specific hair products being locked up versus others?
because those are the hot items that the people in that community are
What
hungry
people?
for.
What people, Wally?
The
I
it
can't
the
say
The
it.
it
people
it
of the
depends.
community.
It
That's the
no
problem.
no. It depends. It depends on what hair products it is. Is it a hair product that's more for black community? Then of
But
course it's
that's what
gonna
they
be
lock.
that. If it's
In the
hair
That's what they
product,
locking up though.
but what I'm saying is if you're in a like a trailer
Hold
park
on, Wally.
area,
No.
okay,
Don't run past me. Don't run past me.
okay,
So these Walmarts. So I remember when the story came out about this. Here where I live, Walmarts and 24-hour pharmacies had to
mhm,
start locking up certain mouthwash and other certain products because another certain specific group that I can't say because I'd get in trouble or um, suffice it to say that those were the high value target products. I'm
mhm.
pretty sure y'all can figure out why. So yes,
You
different
know what?
communities.
I need to say something. For years, I sat there asking myself internally, why do they lock up certain products? I can never understand why they do it. I was like, maybe because it's small, but no, but those are small and they don't lock those up.
It's the
So I don't
stuff
make
that
I
people steal.
never,
It's
huh?
the stuff. It's the stuff that people steal. It's their
Right, but
their
I've
loss
never
prevention. Go through the stuff, and it's like, oh, this is the stuff that we're always off count.
No,
That's
we
what they're
get
locking up.
that, but he's just saying he couldn't understand it
Guess
before.
what? I
I
got
never
you one better.
understood it.
I always didn't shop in them stores. If I had to wait for you, I would drive the extra 5 to 10 minutes to go someplace else because the products
Mm.
are the same regardless of whatever store I go to. I would drive the 15 minutes just because I'm not waiting. For me, you don't trust me. That means you don't want my money because obviously my money's not good for you if I got to wait 30 minutes for your employee to decide to show up to give me the product that I need. I go to
Yeah,
any other
but
place and I'm out of there.
but put yourself in that business owner's shoes though. If that's your store and that's happening, you're gonna lock that stuff up.
Ooh.
I get
And
it, but
you're
guess what?
business minded.
But
Wait.
you could change that though. Because if
Go
you
ahead.
hire more employees, you wouldn't have the same problem.
No, no,
Okay.
no, no. How can you stop the shortage?
Hold on. Wally misses a small component of this. Wally's right,
Okay.
but only half of it. Who else gets blamed when things go missing? Who's actually typically the first person to get blamed?
The store
The
associate.
store workers.
Right. So when they're stealing, they're not just hosing the store, but if your employee is on the cusp or maybe an undesirable that they're taking a chance on, you're
Mhm.
putting heat on them too. You could have an employee lose their fucking job because you're a klepto.
That's true. That's true.
So stealing has multiple facets to the whole of it. Keep in mind, with each employee you hire, that store's profits are going to go down. And yes, to us, a store earning a $2 million a year profit seems sizable. But if they know the average store should be earning 10 million, that's underperforming. So why bother?
Here's something too. This is why I think us as parents, we need to teach our kids these things too. Because I'm not even gonna lie, when I was young, I was steal candy and do all this stuff, and I'm not thinking about all the like the trickle down effect that goes down just for being a klepto because I want these Hershey bars and because me and a couple of my friends would literally steal candy and then sell them at school, not
See,
knowing the
I didn't
trickle
go
down
through any of that
effect that
stuff.
these things will do. But I'm just saying, like, that's why I appreciated when The Rock, he went to the store, like I think the 7-Eleven that he used to always steal from as a kid, and like, did he buy their whole inventory or something? Like, he
He did.
contributed
He
a
he
good
bought the
large sum of
inventory that he
money
would,
to them,
whatever brand
you know?
he would
Yeah,
steal, he bought
you know.
them out. So
But I
his
think
store got
that's
the money
something
for the
that we should
profit.
teach to our kids too, like the ramifications of these type of things. Because if you instill this into the kids and in the community, guess what? It's gonna resonate.
Here's my question for you all.
Mhm.
Did the the store owner know you?
No.
Why?
He didn't care. Like, I didn't take the time to care to know the store owner. The store owner didn't take time to care to
It
know
was
me.
the
I don't know.
local corner store that you were going to lift these chocolate bars?
No, it was like a supermarket or something like that.
Okay.
It was like a
Shoot.
good. It was like a
Shoot,
good
you
what?
said it was multiple of you. What's the
Yeah.
chances that none of your parents knew what was going on?
Oh, they didn't know at all.
Wally, you got 3 kids, right?
Mhm.
How much do they get away with that you don't know, that you don't find out about if more than one of them's involved?
Here's the thing. It's a good chance. Like, there's certain things they do that I don't find out. The way I find out is like through accident, like knocking over a book bag or something like that, and the stuff will fall out. But it's not something that would just like it's not something that I would seek. And
So if your parents had taught you, what would have happened?
I would have got a spanking.
Right.
I would have also had to use my allowance and
here's
do
the
something
thing, though.
too.
I think with my parents, it was more like a different circumstance, so to speak. Only because my parents, they came into the country. So in their mind, it was just basically go to school, get good grades, whatever. But they couldn't really reiterate to me why I'm doing this stuff. And they had no education on it because they're just, hey, get a job, work, pay your bills. And at this time, this was when like industrialism was real high, which is something else that I want to speak about, the whole civil rights movement, why it went bad, like why people saying, hey, stuff went to hell when it came to the Black community. But at that time, you could get a job and make good money off of it, and jobs were loyal at the time. So for them, it was just, hey, get a job. They didn't really understand the ins and outs of education, college, or a trade or whatever. So I had a lot of free range because I kind of understood these concepts, never took the time to explain it to them. So it's kind of like it was easy for me to game them. And they were so focused on working. Yeah, and they were so focused on working that they didn't have, like, you talking like double shifts, all of this stuff. So they didn't really have the time like that to.
So a non-traditional nuclear family.
Yeah, non-traditional. They still made sure, like, they did their best to stay on top of things. But I was just that good of a manipulator and lying.
It doesn't matter if you've got double shifts and both parents working.
But at least they had it.
Room to maneuver is a lot bigger than if mom's at home 24/7.
Wait a second, I got you one even better.
I will say this though. Hold on, you could chime in. My dad worked the afternoon shift to night. My mom worked the morning shift to afternoon. So one parent was always in the house. So the way they had it scheduled, one parent was always in the house.
In a great mood and wide awake.
No.
Keep in mind, I came up from the same environment. No, And again, I'm not busting on your parents, but what I'm
No, I
saying,
know.
when we divide, we get conquered. Because I know as a single parent, and I'm a jerk, and I'm a heart, and I know I find out weeks afterwards where I just got gamed. Right? Multiple stories, multiple times where one of my kids' friends would come, by the way, Randy, did you know? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right? My only saving grace for most of my kids is that their friends adored me and would snitch on my kids to me for me.
But you see, this is the problem that my folks had. They didn't like me really associating, like they they didn't like, they were mean to my friends. So my friends never really like spoke to them or really, sat down with them or anything like that. They kept away
Yeah.
because of how mean my mother was. My pops, they were cool with, but my mother was mean to them. So they like shied away. So there was no way for her to find out because she basically built that, that relationship with them. So
I had to build that relationship with my
yeah,
kids' friends
yeah,
because I was a single parent. It's
yeah,
like, look, there's only so much of me to go around.
yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure you know what the difference, because Erica, you said you were working from home and now you're not, right?
Yes.
But you know what? It's a catch-22. So you're talking, this is a recent transition for me. But I get home maybe an hour, a lot of times less than an hour from when they get in. But even with that, mine are still little, so they don't have as much free reign quite yet. But I'm also that mom. I'm the one taking them to their events. I'm staying at their events. I may be dumb tired, but I'm there. So there's no way for you to game the system right now because I'm that parent. I'm doing drop-offs, pickups. I'm there.
I'll give you a simple example because I'm staring at it right now. Right? So, for instance, my son dropped off paperwork that I needed to fill out for his school over something about 2 weeks ago. And he gave it to me while I was busy dealing with something else. So what did I do?
Set it to the side.
Just set it to the side. Yep.
And what did I find today while I was doing something else?
The paperwork.
Well, son of a, where if there's two parents, one parent's at home full time, that paperwork probably would have been signed and dealt with the minute it walked through the door. Right? Like when there was two parents in the household, my kids would come home from school and I would have them line up. All right, open your bag, give me your paperwork. All right, next.
That's
open
why I love my wife.
But that's what I do. That's my job. That is my job. I walk in the house from work and it's, hey, this is what we did at
that
school.
I can't do.
This is what we did.
Ugh.
But that's our
A
dynamic.
single parent, like that slipped.
Yeah.
When I became a single parent, like that slipped. And it's the same thing when you got both parents working, whether it's opposite shifts. So even if a parent's home, shit slips through the cracks.
Oh yeah. Even with both parents, stuff will slip. So just imagine with one, Yeah. That's why in my book, parenting is made for two people.
And you got to be a dedicated parent.
Two people and the community. Like realistically.
And be dedicated, because you got parents that are like, I'm a parent. No, you got to be dedicated, because you can't be that I'm going to turn this switch off when I want to. Yeah. You have to be on, or at least one parent has to be on at a time.
Let's use a simple example. All of us have kids. All of us live in the same neighborhood. My son turns around and says he's going over to visit your kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we have a strong community, I know you guys, you know me. My kid starts misbehaving, you're not going to think twice about saying what?
I'm going to call the parent first,
or
I'm going to treat you like you mine.
No. Yep, exactly.
So one or the other. I'm either calling or I'm going to treat you like mine. So what we doing? Because I done had a conversation with you already. You want me to take their stuff away and hand it back over? All right, fine. We good.
From the jump, Mal, what I would do is I'd be like, look, my kid's coming over to play with your kid. He act up. you better tear his butt up. And if you don't tear his butt up, I'll be annoyed with you for not tearing his butt
Right.
up. Like put him in line,
Like,
you know?
yeah. You best tear his ass a new one, and
Exactly.
grab him by the ear. You march him
Yep.
for the public to see. You
Yep.
march him down the street back home to me, where I can then take a strip out of him.
Exactly. But see,
A
we live in a
strong
soft,
community keeps track.
we-
Just
but
like if
you said, we live in a soft society where now parents got their panties in a bunch. Oh, I ain't letting nobody discipline my kid, stuff like that. Especially if it's, I get it if it's a perfect stranger. It's like, hey, my kid did something, come talk to me. But if I have a rapport with you and this is our community, there's certain things that you have to expect from the community to help you be a parent and
when my
help
kid's
guide that
acting out at the
child.
public park and you guys happen to be there, you
Mhm.
look over. Hey, Johnny, you darn well know if I were to call your dad right now, you wouldn't sit down for a month of Sundays. So
Yep.
either smarten the up or I'm marching you home to your pops.
Yep.
Let me say something. If I, the
No,
parent, can't take care of my kids and can't handle my kids, yeah, you should take them. I can't handle them, you better take them. Because if I can't handle them, you know what I'm saying. There's
Right,
no,
but you know what?
I don't deserve to have them if I can't handle them. If I can't make sure they do what they're supposed to do, I don't deserve to have them.
Yeah, but see, the problem is it's because parents are so inconsistent. And I'm not saying it as on a parent level, but you don't know if somebody is a 16-year-old parent or a 46-year-old parent sometimes. That gap in those ages change the parenting dynamics. If they don't have,
is it the age or that we've allowed the social culture to change?
it's the social culture that's changed, which is translated into babies raising babies without having the know-how. And I think that's another issue for me. I don't have a problem. You have a kid whenever you want to, but I need you to step up and be a parent. Not all people have had the parent to guide them to be a parent. So I feel like maybe those parents
will
need to
step
sign
up
up for programs that could
or
help them
else.
be parents or have a community around them that could help them do better. Because that
You
is the
will
excuse that
step
I
up
have.
to be a parent or else.
Yeah.
Because
Not I
there's,
need you to.
but there's
You
too many
will
people
be
that
a
give
parent.
people that excuse where, well, I wasn't raised this. I don't care if you weren't raised this kind of way. You want to raise another kid, you need to step up and either seek the help to do it, or you have to fall on your sword and learn.
Right. But that's why I want to get rid of that word need. You don't need. You will raise that kid appropriately, or else the community steps in, whether it's a government agency or the community as a whole. Because you fall into it's this wishy-washiness that's created gray areas where gray areas shouldn't and didn't exist. And
Maybe.
I argue that 80 to 90% of all gray areas, if we just took a little magic eraser, those Mr. Clean magic erasers, and they'd vanish almost instantly. Most of this gray is soft. And it's because we've allowed it to.
And I hate the fact that you got people that are glorifying, oh, my 16-year-old daughter, my 17-year-old daughter is bringing a child into this world. I'm going to be a grandmother. Like, I understand back in the day, it would happen like every once in a while. But it's to the point now, it's like you're glorified for bringing a child into the world at a young age. And it's like, where do we do that at? That makes it wasn't designed to happen that way. It's
Think about
designed
it.
for two people to tie the knot and then have a child. You get what I'm saying? And grow, like raise
Hold
that
on.
child together.
Wally, can you repeat that for me? Because that kind of sounds like what I was saying when it came to the Romeo Juliet thing about an 18 and a 16-year-old.
Yeah,
You mean to tell me maybe the 16-year-old should wait till they're old enough?
exactly.
Because sex can lead to what?
Pregnancy.
And STDs. People be
Yep.
forgetting about that too.
Yep. they made it seem like having children now is like what's the
badge of
what's the
honor?
word I'm looking
It
for?
was a
Yeah,
trend.
that's what they make
Like
it seem
first
like.
puppies.
But think about
Yes.
it. It was a trend for a few years. You had cousins and classmates plotting to have kids together. Matter of fact, what was that show? 16 and Pregnant. I remember when that show came out. I was pregnant at the time. I remember. I felt like they were making whole shows.
See,
And teens were watching these shows. And I'm like, you ain't learning from these mistakes of these people? What is wrong
No,
with
they're
y'all?
glorifying it. I want to be on that show.
They
see,
were.
let me
And
ask
that's
y'all
the
a question.
problem.
Let me ask both of you a question. Well, Gary too.
Oh, Gary's
Do we
still
agree? Do we agree that when it comes to sons are held like more dearer to the moms, and the daughters are held more dear? Like of course you hold all your children, dear, but boys are more, the mothers gravitate more to the sons and the fathers gravitate more to the daughters. Yes, no? No.
I'm gonna give weird dynamics. I think now, yes, because most men are soy boys, and so the women want to raise their sons to be masculine and then bust their balls once they're men to be more feminine lately.
I guess it's more so like, it's like when a guy has a daughter, it's like, yo, this is daddy's little girl. You get what I'm saying? That's my princess. So when it comes to a girl 15, 16 getting pregnant, do you think the dad feels like he failed that daughter more than the mother does, or the mother felt like she failed the daughter more than the dad?
Well, let me answer the first question.
Okay.
From my life, I gravitated more to my mom, and my sister gravitated more to my father. That's how that was. I was always trying to, please my mom, and my dad was always with, don't get it twisted, we was always together, but
yeah,
you can tell that was his little girl. So it's like, that's what I experienced the first one. The second one, I have a hard time with this one, because a part of me want to believe that if I did have a daughter, I would treat her the same way I treated my sons. Look, you have choice. You have you're shaking your head, and every single time I say that, every last father say that.
Yo, it's different, brother.
And
it's
you
different.
can't.
Yeah.
I do not have to warn my son about the realities of physicality. Right? My son needs to learn to be a man and how to channel his testosterone to not hurt people. But if he's being a good boy or being a good son, he's not going to be getting into fights. He's not going to be blah, 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 blah. My daughter, even if she's being a good girl, has to worry about catty BITs. She has to worry about social stigma at school more than the boys do. When a guy shows up at school dressed like a punk or a goth or a prepper or what have you, whatever, they might be ostracized-ish. When a girl does the same thing, oh, hell no. Their world, it's cancel culture on a small scale for a woman or for a girl. Balancing. So my daughters, I balance between teaching them things so that they're self-sufficient, but also not having them be so masculine that when they start dating, they're intimidating the boys.
Yeah.
Think about it, Gary. If you walked up to Miss Lamb when you first started dating, and her dad took you out to the rifle range and showed you how to shoot guns, would you be a little emasculated by your girlfriend popping targets better than you?
You asking me?
Probably.
No, I wouldn't. That would probably turn me on. Like, Stop smoke, dog. I'm
Oh,
a beat
shit.
your ass. Hairy
Hey,
Toe.
Harry, oh,
Yeah.
I gotta catch this channel live. Thanks. I got to catch this channel live. Thanks for everyone for in the conversation. You are so welcome, Hairy Toe. I have hairy toes too. I just wanted to let you know that. I do. They a little, but yeah. I don't have a problem with a strong woman.
here's what I'm gonna say, Gary, is this. It's easy to talk when you've never been put in the situation,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna argue that at the time and place, especially when you're a young 18-year-old boy, I'm gonna tell you let's just say there's a better than average chance that it would have emasculated you.
Keep in mind, I've been around girls my
Look.
entire life.
Look.
Emasculation is not the word. You are in the sea of emasculation when you have nothing but girls around you, dog. I have gone through the worst. All right. You can't emasculate me. There's no look. You can shoot as good, and I will always look at you
Have
and
you
say,
gone to
listen,
the grocery store and had to carry 5 different types of period products, plus
Yes.
heat pads and stuff like that?
yes.
That is the height of knowing that you're.
Yes, I have. I had to do that at 16 years old because my mother did not want to go because she was in pain. She sent my ass. Yes.
Oh no.
Look.
I didn't just have to go for the woman. I had to go for my woman and my 4 daughters and my woman's 2 daughters.
I don't know about going for no daughters, but I know how to go for some. I know how to go for women. They send you the picture, you match the picture up, and you make sure it's right.
I
Look.
like that.
Look.
That's what you do.
Just by like, I know we say, oh, it's the what's the word I'm looking for? It's the proper thing to say that, you know, you treat all your children equally and everything, but look, just the simple fact of how the way I hug my son as far as my daughter is completely different. Like with my son, you could tell it's like a fake hug where you like, I don't want to show, you know, too much. Yeah, it's like, okay, bring it in. But with my daughter, it's like embracing hug, like, feel that love, feel that joy, you know? So just that simple thing will basically let you
I don't
know,
want a
like,
daughter.
you treat your,
I don't want to
treat your daughters different, man.
You just gave me a different look because I could see how that I could see just thinking about that, like the way my boys like, yo, that's my dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man. Don't rub
But
too.
when
Listen,
they're
God,
sick and
listen. I don't
over
care
16.
how intimate the dick. I don't care how good dag and intimate
But
the dag. Wait, shut up. I don't
Uh-huh.
care how intimate the hug is. When you two did the rubbing, you ever had that experience? Like you grab me too close. Oh, what the fuck? No, get the fuck. Like you ever had that? I've had that. Yo, it changed the life of the
I
hug.
never had it. Don't want to experience it.
Oh my! I experienced
How
that
about
the other. I'm like,
sitting on
oh,
the
what the fuck? I'm done. Man. Get the hell off me. That's
Imagine
it. I'm
sitting on the
done.
couch and your 16-year-old son lays down and lays on you. How okay that is. Now imagine being a full-grown man sitting on the couch, and then your 16-year-old daughter does the same thing. It's like, whoa, no. Personal bubble, personal space, no.
Yeah.
I love you. I sympathize for you. I'll walk 20 miles in the snow to get you ice cream to make you feel better. But personal space. Personal space.
And it's funny too, because when I hug my son, it looks so awkward. But the minute he hugs his mom, you see the embrace, like that real genuine embrace. And I'm like, dang, he could hug like that. Like,
Yo,
you know what I mean?
I do know. I noticed the difference the other day. How my son grabs my It's almost like he's asking me for permission. My wife don't have a choice. She can grab her. You know what I'm saying? All that, man.
Like, oh man, again? You'd be like, oh, fine, let's go.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Stop. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
You can tell she's trying to hold on, but she's like, look,
But
You
yeah,
feel like I'm exhausted. Leave me alone.
like,
Can I get a minute? Can I get a minute? Come on.
oh man. But
But
listen,
you
we're
know
gonna have
what?
to wrap this up. We gotta wrap this up. It's
Delete.
been
Yeah.
forever. It's been
Oh,
3
yeah.
hours. We got to
Man,
wrap it.
just
But I'm gonna let you
about.
get the last word, Erica. Go ahead. Say what you gotta say.
I was just going to say, on the other end, I felt like my dad had to teach me certain things because, one, you don't know if your tire going to pop, if you going to have to, you might have to do some of that little stuff. If I'm in a car with somebody, I'm going to give them the opportunity to do it, but I know how to do it if I have to. So I get what you're saying. You got to balance the manly stuff with the girly stuff because
I remember
you don't want to do that. You don't want to emasculate somebody that you're dating.
I
right.
remember the days that I had to teach my wife how to do those things. Right, because she didn't have a dad that showed her how to do those things, so she didn't have that. So I had to be my wife mothered me in so many ways, and vice versa. I fathered her in so many ways, and I taught her how to change a tire, how to put air in the tire, how to check the oil, how to change the oil, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? She's like, ooh, like that, ooh, that's nasty, that's messy. You know what I'm saying? She don't want to be a part of it, but when you wake up one day and you say she says I put air in the tire, don't worry about it, because she didn't put air in the tire in 23-degree weather because the daggone rim was cracked, and that's the only thing we had. We didn't have money to go get a new rim, so every 2 days that tire had leaked air, and she'll go out there with the automatic thing, and it's cold, but
Yeah.
she gotta hold that thing, putting air in a tire while the car is warming up. And I remember those days, and I'm like, why are you putting air in the tire? I can do that. That's my job. Wait a minute, hold on. That woman's a beast.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting that she's a beast. She's not some dainty little thing. You know what I'm saying? We done went to wars together. But you forget as a man, like, yo, she can handle herself. She don't need me to do that.
I got a little
Yeah.
quick side story because it makes me think about it. So I got a video sent to me, and the caption is, "I don't understand why men don't know how to price shop." Okay.
Mm.
So the woman walks up to her man and
Price
says,
shop.
"Yeah, honey,
Oh, this is
I
gonna
don't
be
know
good.
I don't know why you're complaining about the cost of gas." And he's looking at her like, "What?" And she goes, "I went and found gas at this price, and so I filled up your truck. I came home after filling up my car. I grabbed your truck and I brought it and I filled it up. Well, how much was it?" And she gives I think it was like 70 cents or something like that. And he's like, "There's no way." And he looks at her and he goes, "Honey, was that for gasoline or for diesel?" And she looks, "Oh, is there a difference?"
Wow. Wow. Messed up the whole engine.
I'm about to say that car gone. Car gone. No pass go.
All right. I know we're gonna shut this down in a minute, but my original question was never answered. If a girl, your daughter gets knocked up, do you feel it's more of a failure on you as the dad or the mother? I'll
Young
answer
and
real
out of
quick.
wedlock?
For me, I
The
believe
dad
if my
or the mother?
who do you feel like? Who do you feel like me as a dad? If my daughter got pregnant, do I
What type
feel
of
that's
question is this? Like, I don't
do
even
I
know
feel
how
that
to.
that's a do I feel that that's a shame on me, or do I feel like that's a shame on the mother for not teaching her the the ins and outs, yada yada?
So just clarify, are we talking underage and not married?
Underage, yes, like
Underage,
16,
like,
16, 15. Like for me, I
Failure
feel
on
like
my part
I
is
feel
marriage.
I feel like for me it's like it's a failure on my end because I should have taught my daughter how to stay away from these type of guys and to find like make sure a dude like actually appreciates her for her and not just after they get the punani.
Obviously,
so to speak.
I didn't
I
show
feel
my
like it's a
daughter
failure
enough
on me.
love. Yeah, obviously, I
Yeah.
didn't show my daughter enough love
Mhm.
that she went looking for it any way she could get it from any man she could get it from. So
Pretty-
I would feel like it's a failure on my part.
Oh
Yeah.
God, that's a
Yeah.
hard question for me to
Yeah,
answer.
I would. Yep. I would feel it's a failure
That's
on
a
me.
hard question for me to answer.
So I'm
I'd
gonna
have
answer.
to. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm gonna give you some time to think about it. I'm gonna answer for you. I feel like it's failure on both parents, and I'm gonna tell you why. It depends on the circumstance. If you, as a parent, didn't have those conversations with your child, and I'm not just saying the one and done conversation, you have to repeatedly have that conversation so they can understand what the ramifications are. But
Mhm.
you also need to make sure that they're prepared if they decide to make that choice.
But Wally's
Because-
question wasn't whose fault it was. It's who would you feel? And
Well, and that's what I said. Me as the mom, I have to feel like we both failed in one way or another. I
But-
can't
but-
say you failed or me
Yeah.
failed.
100% responsible.
Because check this out, Erica P. At the end of the day, you can teach your daughter but so much, but you can't tell her the ins and outs, the nooks and the nits, I'm messing the word up.
Nooks
The
and
crannies.
nits and crannies about how dudes play these games to psychologically get in these women's head.
Wait. Why? Hold on. Why do it have to be a dude playing games? What if it's real? Like
It can be real.
You're dismissing the fact that that kids do fall in love at that age. You know what I mean?
They
Like
do.
you can't dismiss that.
They-
So it's
But if
like,
I'm being a proper father, I'm
do.
not giving them the opportunity to do that.
there you go.
And-
Now that's the reason why it's a hard question, because it's like, to ask that question means that I allow my daughter to have too much freedom,
You also have to
which
figure
means
out
that
Go ahead.
that's not on me. That's on her now. It's like, I can't take responsibility. Like, you asked for the freedom, I gave it to you, and this is what you did with it. Hands off.
And then
I don't feel that way though, because something like that could just be happen where they go to school, which is well in the free range that you give them, and while they're at school, they
So
wind
you
up
may
doing something in the
you're telling
bathroom,
me
so to speak.
you're telling me your girl getting done in at school, there's definitely a freaking failure on your part
Right, so
as
it
a
goes
father.
Oh yes,
If that's the case, yes,
it
that's
definitely
100%
is.
you. But if you're talking about prom night, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is not the same thing. It's like, yo, this is the kind of
It's-
stuff that's supposed to happen on these nights.
Okay, so I'm gonna look at it a little differently because I get what you're saying, but I also need to know what is her plan. Because if that's what you're choosing, I need to know how you're going to execute it. Because think about it, if your job as a kid is to go to school, when it comes time to need to raise this kid, because guess what? I'm not that kid's parent. So therefore, I need to know how you going to take care of this kid. Because I did what I was supposed to do by raising you. You're gonna be mad because I'm gonna want you to go
Danielle
get a
said
job.
something hard, because that's what I'm talking about. If they want to happen, they
Yeah,
want it to
yeah.
happen, they can
And-
make it
Correct.
happen.
And they'll definitely figure it out.
And this is why I'm saying it's as a father, you're supposed to guide the daughter to make them not need to go outside of the house to find that love. And on top of that, show them like speak to them in a like, you got to basically teach them where
girls are
let-
girls, bro.
yeah,
No.
they are
girls.
they are
not.
girls. But if you have that guidance of teaching somebody, like teaching your daughter, yo, do not try and gain somebody's approval by giving in to the things that they want, just for the simple fact that you might lose them or whatever the case may be, because you have your whole life ahead of you. This person you're talking to now might not even be in your life later down the line. So it's like these type of lessons you have to teach to them, to like look at the bigger picture. Yeah, you might have these feelings now for this person, whatever, but look
My
at the bigger
daughters,
picture. You got your whole life ahead of you.
I can pick apart each one of my daughters and different negative aspects to them. But you know what? One word I can't use for any one of my 4 daughters?
What's
That's
that?
devious. Do you know why? because of open communication and respect between us and for themselves. So the daughters that can find a way and are being devious, goes back to mine and Wally's initial statement, I would feel 100% responsible because obviously I didn't fulfill something in my daughter's life.
Yep.
Because if I fulfilled every responsibility as a father that I did in my daughter's life, she wouldn't feel a need to be devious. She wouldn't feel a need to find love. So she might fall in love during high school, but she ain't giving it up till there's a ring on it until they got their shit together. So if I fulfilled mine, and out of all my kids, only one has a kid. So 4 daughters, 2 26-year-olds, a 19 and an 18-year-old, and I've only got one grandbaby with one of the older ones. That's got to tell you something.
Yeah, that's
Many
damn
things,
good.
and I can pick plenty of failures that I've done in my lives, right?
Yeah.
So can it be done? Absolutely. But if the kids are feeling the need to be devious,
it's going to be more of a. I seriously doubt a daughter who respects her father that much is willing to risk that respect.
Right.
You know, it's like I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. They're going to say, no, I'm not going to hurt my father like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just won't.
Plus, you also have to think about what were the rules in that house. You got to, in my case, I had my first kid when I was 27 years old. So my mom and dad, you know, they had a lot of rules. I had a curfew the whole time I was in the house. I think I had a curfew. Matter of fact, at 26, I think my curfew was still 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Like, I had to be in the house. If I went in the house, people was getting phone calls. But I also feel like it was more on them too. Whoever I was dealing with had to come home. How do you explain that to somebody? If they're not looking to be in your life long term, they're not trying to come home.
Nope.
So if you can't do that, then you're gonna have to have a conversation with dad. What's your intentions? And that, you know, a lot of times if all you're looking for is to smash, you're not trying to have them conversations with somebody's dad.
Nope.
My 18-year-old lives at home with me still, earns more than enough to be out on her own, but doesn't want to. We're looking to do right. And she understands that even though she earns, she's a welder. So we're not talking that she's financially hurting in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And I don't care. She's 18 and has her own job. My house, my rules. Only one king in this kingdom. So she has a midnight curfew. This is not negotiable. Or she can let me know where she's spending the night that night.
Well, at least you're doing that, because I couldn't even spend a night out. It didn't matter. But I chose, like, I was legit. I had a banking job at 19. I had the means to leave. I chose not to.
Right.
So if I chose not to leave, I chose to deal with those rules. And for them, they very rarely spend a night out. I couldn't spend a night out with a guy. If I was spending a night out, it was basically me going to my best friend's house in South Jersey, because they knew I shouldn't be on the road 2-3 o'clock in the morning going an hour plus away. Maybe two, 3 times a year.
She's never spent the night out. I'm just saying that those are my rules that we've discussed and that she knows, right? Because rules need to be stated ahead of time. Whether or not she's never done it.
And it has to be a consequence for that rule too. Because if you break that rule and there's no real consequences, you're gonna keep trying to do it.
You've heard some of my consequences.
Oh yeah.
I'm a lover of consequences.
But I'm like, from
no, I was just gonna say, but I think one of the biggest things that has to be established is the open line of communication.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things to establish, because depending on your communication with your child, they may feel they can't come and speak to you about any and everything. So having that rapport, to have that open line of communication with your child, is very important.
And I'll say it's a fine line. You have to have that open line of communication, but at the same, on the other side of that coin, I'm the king. You can come talk to me about just about anything. But at the end of the day, when I say done and I set the rule down, this is not negotiable anymore.
Yeah.
The king hath spoken, the king shall be obeyed, or else.
Yeah.
Well,
Agreed.
Well,
Whoa,
on
he
that point,
stunned his face off there.
I'm gonna say on that point, I like that. I feel like I ain't got nothing else to say on that one. I think
Yeah.
it's a wrap.
I
for me.
think that's a
Yeah.
great time to end the live tonight.
Erica, you can say the goodbyes and everything for matter of
Oh,
opinion.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, go
Oh,
right
oh,
ahead.
Floor
oh,
is
you just
yours.
gonna, you're just gonna throw me out there?
Yep.
Thank you for coming to the show tonight. I appreciate you guys having me on your platform. I appreciate the fans that are making comments. I appreciate everybody watching. Please like, share, subscribe. I think that's about it. Have a good night.
Where can we find you?
On YouTube, Matter of Opinion. Best show on YouTube. There you go.
Well, I think that is it, right, Mala Justice? I think we're done with
I
this.
love you all. Have
I had a
a
great
night.
time too.
Yeah. Thanks for the great conversation, Matter. Wally and Erica. Chat, I love you all. Sorry, as per usual, I can only focus on either chat or chat. And I think you all prefer if I'm focusing on the chat. So peace, love, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and I will catch you all on the flip side. Bye.
Well, that's the end of this live. This is Gary Lim signing off. You guys have a good one.